Aren't you going? Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Core Show Live. It's not really the Core Show Live. I'm a bit dark, and that's a bit better. Right. Basically, I noticed on Gaz's channel that he had cancelled this evening, so I thought I'd just pop on and basically give this a bit of a go. So 61 people straight in, which is nice to see. I'll be introducing a little bit of what we're doing a little bit later on. Basically, I am using this because on top of what you're seeing here, I've got another screen with 6 windows there, another screen there with something else on it. And there's quite a lot of juggling. So I've downloaded a video just to try out on how that works. And this is where I say it comes in as a prelim. And then on top of that, I've got some other bits and bobs on the other screen where I can then start showing share screen and video and stuff like that. I really want to just get my hands on to see how it all works. So in Gaz's absence, I thought what I'd do is do it now. While people are expecting to see, like myself, Rick and Matt, who is actually waiting in the background, so I just add him to the stage. Yeah, so I can have a fiddle, not that sort, with things, just so I can get used to how to put things on screen, etc., etc. But not only that, we're gonna treat it like it's like the normal format on a Thursday night. So, Matt, are you with us?
With you guys. How you all doing?
He does speak. He's not just a mannequin, although be it. Some people may think he really is. So, right. First things first. I'm just going to put a video. Oh, hang on a minute. Here he is. I've got a couple of videos today of some fish. One being an ND's DK line, which we'll make another announcement on. Rick, you'll like this. One that has been shared by Marcus I can never say his name. Can you say his koi shop name, Marcus?
Pirate Koi.
Pirate Koi, yeah. Sorry, Marcus, man. It's too much of a mouthful to remember.
Kazuto.
Yeah, something like that. And I think actually that fish that you shared, mate, fucking fantastic, mate. I can't wait to share it, to be perfectly honest. And I'm like I was just saying, Rick, I'm just going to use tonight as a little bit of a fumble about on how I use all the controls, because it's a little bit more than what Gaz does, because I've got stuff pre-recorded and photographs. Photographs I'm having a struggle with. So if anybody out there uses StreamYard, when I bring a picture on, for example, I will show you what happens. That's no props. Let's add a background now.
So this is your trial run.
Yeah, just fucking about really, mate. But look, right, so if I go like this, I only get part of the picture, which is really fucking annoying me. I can't work out how...
Shrink it, mate. It's too big.
I've shrunk it, but it just zooms in even further. So I've got to work out how to do that. So if anybody knows, please let me know, to stop my head from doing all of this research. But right, I'm just going to put a video on because I want to see how StreamYard reacts to a downloaded video. So it's only a minute long and it's not that interesting, but it does give us a link into something I want to talk about. So every time I've come to the train station, I always come out somewhere new because it's about 15 exits. Not that it matters because you only get a taxi, but been a good long week, to be fair. Let's have a look just behind us. Look at that. Yeah, good long week. So fish, all being well, should be landed on the 27th of February back from Nagata or Nagioka, whichever you want to call it. So yeah, now on to half-hour taxi journey, then onto the airplane, back home for a nice 14-hour flight. So, but I think you'll agree that looks quite fantastic. We're in the middle of a city, not like London. It's busier than London, actually, in my opinion. Busier than London, but cleaner and more friendlier. So, taxi rank's just there, look. Just behind me. I mean, right, that's perfect. So it auto jumps in, auto jumps out, and then catches us by surprise, which is perfect. So that was the end of my trip in Japan this year. And I was a little bit shell-shocked because when I come out of the train station, it wasn't the same place I come out the previous year. It was actually completely different looking. Now, we all know that the journey over there is dog shit. I hope we're long enough in. We are. That's good.
You've lost all your money.
No, I ain't worried about
You donate this to the GKP because it's their money.
The thing is, if you swear early, it stops it from being shared so quickly. So, but yeah. So on top of that, it's worth for me, the worst part about Japan is the journey. You know, it's so mind-numbingly boring. But when you get
the right company, he didn't
shut up. Company, did I?
He didn't shut up for 18 hours.
Was he like a kid?
I still laugh at some of the bits and pieces that went on over there. It's just
well, right. So, highlights for you, Rick, over there. Highlights
for me in Japan.
Yeah.
Celebrating Matt's 60th birthday was pretty good.
Yeah, he looks like it as well.
Yeah, to be fair, if you love coin, you don't love doing that, then something's wrong because the whole thing is a highlight, isn't it? I like the journey. I like the trip. For me, going to the airport, being on you can't do your normal work. You have to switch off from that, and it's almost downtime, isn't it? So I like the journey. I'm just not. If I did it regular, I probably wouldn't. But once a decade, that's all right.
No,
Cope with that. To be fair, I mean, Dainichi's place walking in there is just, it's just that kind of doesn't upset me. It puts into perspective how far away we are from the top end over there. It's just different way. It's just insane. So be it a highlight or a low light, depends on which way you look at it.
Yeah.
As a koi farmer, when you see that, you go, shit, I've got work to do.
From your perspective.
Yeah.
But in honesty, Rick, you're never going to get there, mate, with respect, because number one, you haven't got the billions of pounds backing you like he has. And number two, it's getting the real estate to even get that in place is next to impossible in the UK. Can you imagine
the industry thing, though, isn't it? It's not just, even if I could produce fish equivalent to them in the same volumes, we still couldn't sell them in the same way because obviously they've got the world coming to them, whereas we can't.
I was looking at it more of if this is what your plan was. Can you imagine the hoops that you've got to jump through in the UK just to dig a hole? You know.
Yeah. You can get around it. You can get around anything. But yeah, you're talking millions of pounds of investment. In the reality of to sell those fish in the UK, yeah, you're not going to get a return on your investment. So there's no one going to invest. There's no bank's going to go, oh, that's a good idea. Not going to happen, is it?
It's for me, it's like putting the planning in place and then getting the council to agree it. Ezra, you're right, young man.
Yeah.
Fisheries come under agricultural, so it's easy to be able to dig a pond. You haven't got to worry about that.
Well, I'm just thinking of things like the environmental aspect. You know, you've got newts. You know, you've got the floodplains to think of. Then highways get involved. How many people are going to start visiting you? And I can imagine it's a bloody nightmare. Just putting, I know it's not koi, but the golf course at Working was just constant battles just because of road users. But anyway, enough of that. So Dainichi for you, Rick. Matt, you?
Odakan.
Yeah.
It was an awesome place. Unreal. And then obviously we have the controversial discussion, or not discussion, but controversial cutting of the fish. You know, for me, it was to see it in the flesh, as it were, was a highlight. And it was. I said it before that, you know, cutting of the fish sounds so harsh, but in reality,
we don't do cutting on this program.
No, but I get it. I'm just saying it was, for me, it was a highlight to actually, not a highlight, but it was a good,
something you'd never seen.
Yeah, exactly. And you can make of it what you will, but yeah, it was. But Odakan's fish and the whole setup was
very good night.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
So night, Matt, night, Crafty, night, everyone.
Bye.
So, for those people that don't know Odakan, he is quite a powerhouse breeder, stroke dealer in Japan, in northern Japan. Not only does he breed his own fish from parent sets that he buys from the other breeders, but he also buys some really nice fish and then resells them on, very much like number one koi down south, Narita. So he does exactly the same thing. So, but he's got, as you walk into the establishment, you'll see it on Lee's videos if you haven't ever watched it. Lee's channel is the Koi Soldier, Lee Hadfield. He has six to eight ponds, maybe a few more, very small, that you have to walk over to get into his main establishment. Then he's got about 9 bigger ponds full of really lovely fish. But the bit for me is that bit. Did you go into the back room where there's them 2 long ponds?
Yeah, the other end of the.
No, I think that's where we started. We went to long ponds.
We go a different way around.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you went in the opposite way. But 2 long ponds that have got fish. Last time I was there, I didn't go into Odakan's this year, but last year he had an achiever in there that was like 104 cm. It was absolutely submarine, man. You know, and you're still only feeding tiny pellet, which I found quite interesting. Like I was expecting golf ball size pellets, but they're still little pellets, which was a little bit mental. And that, so for me, highlight this year was Yamaguchi, working with him on a mud pond event. And this ain't a plug or a sales of Yamaguchi being just a single man band. You know, his fish are fantastic, and him agreeing to do 10 fish in a mud pond event for me, which fish are available through our website, but that's not the reason why I bought it up. For me, it's just having that ability, or having that, or him allowing me to do that, because they're quite the Japanese breeders are really quite fussy on, number one, who they work with, and number 2, what fish they want to go or put back into a pond, because he's only got 4 mud ponds. So for every fish that he puts back takes up space, and if it's not ones that he's selecting, then you know he may not get the results that he really wants. So looking back at that, there's a video on YouTube of that as well on my channel, Crafty Koi. I need to change that banner thing there, don't I? When I'm on this, that's a point to note. Yeah, go and have a look, because then you can see what we've actually done together, which is something that not only is highlight now, but it gives you something to look forward to in the future. So at the end of the growing season, when they come out, if they had a good year like I did this year with how much size that these fish put on, then the money that I've paid for them are extremely cheap, if knowing what come out. You didn't go to Yamaguchi's place, did you, when you went?
No.
That's a real shame. That's a real shame. He's a real top bloke and all.
I think he sold all his fish to everyone else.
Well, just after the following day, actually, after I'd done my business with him, we got a phone call, and he said that he'd literally sold everything to one company. They literally come along and soaked up all of the ponds. You know, which
that's perfect. I mean, for a breed like that, that's what you want, isn't it? You sell your top 10% to people that are, you know, smaller as whatever, that are picking fish. 90% to a big company. Season's done, isn't it? That'd be amazing.
No, I was going to say, has that ever happened, Rich?
What, sell all our fish to one person? Jesus. Yeah, that'd
be good if you could, though, wouldn't it? It's like be a boring year, though, wouldn't it? As soon as all your fish are gone. You know what I mean?
No, but then the positive with that is you then just concentrate on the next event, didn't you? So you got more time to spend sort of mud pond sorting, your brood stock sorting, everything. So rather than looking after thousands of fish that you've got to sell through the season, you can just crack on with boom what you need to do. That'd be amazing.
Crack on with it. That's what we need to see. So again, as we're talking, I am doing a little bit of messing about.
Is anyone reading any comments?
No, not yet. We'll go back over them. I'm not going to keep going through them as we, you know, we're going to have a chat and then we're going to bring them up in a minute. Now, there is a bloody lot of people in there. Over 100 people have tuned in. So thank you very much, guys. It's really good of you, including, let's bring that one up. If he gives you any rubbish, right, just, although I like everyone to be kind, that's my son. Right, so he often trolls what I do. So yeah.
Well, he might as well be right behind you. Oh, he is. All right.
He's a pain in the ass, but he's not really. He's a good lad. He's serving, so I don't see him very often. He's coming home soon, I think. So let's have. I want to try something now because again, this is about. This is not just about us, but it's also about how I can work things out. So I'm going to try something new.
Something borrowed and something blue. You getting married?
It sounded like it just a minute ago. It sounded like we were going into church again with that background music.
Oh, mate. I do think you need to sort the music out.
Ooh. There we go. Right, so challenge on that then. This is one of the mud pond fish that I chose. I would see it looks completely different on live than what it does on my screen. It's less vibrant, which is a bit weird. How's it looking on yours? Is on your screen? Does it look washed out?
It's not washed out. The quality's good, but yeah, it's not as bright. But that's the screen definition and pixels, isn't it? It changes from phones to computers to.
It don't look too bad. Right, so this is a fish selected for the mud pond event. A Sanke that is Sakai bloodline and a parent of Miss Tokyo. I'm going to try and find that picture because it's absolutely fucking insane. Right, so when we're looking through this fish, Rick, right, I'd like you to pick out the bad points because it's not about assassination, but it's about appreciation.
Yeah, it's not about the appreciation and the shape. It's a banging fish and it shapes nice. Everything's in proportion. The only thing you might have is the patterns sort of front heavy.
Okay.
So heavy belly, heavy everything. You know, the front end of the fish is busy and heavy. The back end's quite sparse, but quality-wise, from that picture there, yeah, the gap for me, the little bit of Shiroji coming up on its left-hand flank, where it's quite tight with the pattern, that could be an area where you want that a bit, the gap bigger, more scales of Shiroji, so that it's more. You got that one scale, it's going to get a little bit, perhaps too busy or whatever. But that might the quality, little things like that. If the quality is good, it doesn't really matter, does it? You're getting into nitty picky things, but yeah, of those, I've looked over those fish you've got, and there's a few that really float my boat more than others.
Yeah, well, it's about having a variety, though, isn't it? That's why.
Yeah, and that's a personal choice, and obviously how they develop as well. I mean, that's the sumi's already up and banging, but it's the front half of the fish and the back half of the fish are quite different, which could be good, could be bad. It's one of those until it's grown out and the sumi does its thing. It might balance up better, it might not. That's just how it is. But yeah, head shape, fin shape, everything about it's. Yeah, I'll be more than happy to keep that and grow it on.
So, right, I'm going to stop sharing because I'm playing at the moment. Stop screen, there it is. Right, and then I'm going to show you this one. Let's see if I can get good at this. So that is the parent. That is Miss Tokyo. And when you go to his establishment, he keeps his actual parent sets on his farm in the winter. So he brings them in the winter, and they literally live in a pond that is no more than 6 foot by 6 foot square, and it's about 8 foot deep. And they just sit in the bottom, chilling out, a little bit of movement. But right, so when you look at that versus, I don't know, maybe I can do it like this way a little bit easier. When you look at that versus that, okay, you can see where that fish is coming from. You know, well, I can anyway. It's like, not that one. I need to put that one back on. You know, for me, the standout fish, I think, is this one for me. Again, it's all on the personal choice. This one really floats my boat. I like the head pattern. I like the sumi placement. I like the fact that once you start to get a bit more body on this fish and a little bit more length, it's going to be quite an interesting fish to see how that shiroji starts to come into play, especially when we're getting it back to this sort of level. You know, it's how much it will do, I don't know. And this is Sakai. Look at it, it's like a rugby ball, isn't it? It's absolutely belting.
Yeah, the difference between that and the last one you had up, the way that the Benny pattern.
I was going to say the Benny is totally
this one.
Yeah, that looks absolutely pristine and whatever, but all you see me is up on the Benny. It's a massive Benny pattern and you've got areas between, you know, the shiroji. It's difficult, isn't it? It could come amazingly good, but you've got areas where the Benny's almost touching across the shiroji, so you might end up with those areas that are a bit shisho, sashi and whatever. It's one of those. They're all gambles, aren't they?
So this is where going to Japan, when I was selecting out, okay, so basically what Yama's done was he nets the whole pond in, right, and then as they swim past, you pluck it. It's like catch a duck. In you go, into a bowl, into the bowl. Select the ones out that you wanted, and then you then disregard or keep, and then do that process until you get down to the ones that you want. Now, a couple that I put in that pattern-wise are absolutely fucking insane. Clearly going to be really, really good-looking fish. He gave them back, and he said to me, "Check it again." And I was like, "What am I looking at?" And he said, "Look at it and check it again." And you get a little bit pattern blind. So you're not pattern blind, but dumbstruck by patterning. Whoa! And then you miss the finer detail. So the two of the fish that I picked out just had slight bends in the head, and I mean slight. Like I needed him to actually show me what he was seeing in order to reject it. And it's quite nice that that breeder has taken the time to say, not that fish, because he's then left with that fish still. You know, he's gone, look at that, and he was quite willing to share. So when I selected this out, I also mentioned the same thing about where the Benny is and how it's going to finish. He reckons, from his eye, and it's better than mine, and he knows his fish, that will separate in time. He said that sashi line will start to really withdraw And I mean, one thing I haven't done is have a look at what the sashi line is on that. Almost non-existent. So when you look at the genetics, the sashi line you can see that's normally just down this piece. Okay, you can see a little bit there, but it is so refined that it's no longer there. So he thinks that fish, whichever one it was, that one, this sashi line here, as it develops, will start to really recede and actually tighten up, which then should open up the more shiroji in this area, like you were saying, Rick. And it's the same in this area. So for me, that's the bit of information that you don't know unless you know your stock, and what potentially your fish are going to do if you see them so far in the future. But we'll have a look at one of them in a minute. So
yeah, well, honestly, it's trouble with any fish that you're buying. The reality is you've got to buy 10 to get. They don't all go in exactly the right direction. They'll all be good fish, but that one, the skin, you can see the skin quality is amazing and whatever. But those little tiny details that can make or break them almost to us. But again, you go out there and there'll be things they'll do perhaps to open that pattern or whatever, which is. That fish there you popped on, that was the one I was like, shit, that's for me. I think that's up there with the best of them. Even though it's got a bit out of its tail missing, it's not a problem. That'll grow out, no bother. But the structure of that is absolutely mental. You're just waiting for a bit of sumi to pop 2 or 3 places. You can see it sat there, and that'll be for me. That'll be the fish that I would be, number one choice.
Well, put it this way, right? That's my fish. Okay, that's why it says sold in the bottom. It wasn't sold. Yamaguchi actually gave me this fish, right? So I'd done my selection, and he said, "You didn't get my number one." And I said, "Which one's your number one?" And he dipped the net, he pulled that out, and he said, "I'd like you to have this."
That'd be that'd be my number one. But at the end of the day, if you're a breeder or whatever, it's the gamble that's the fun in it. You hope that the sumi's going to come in all the right places. You can see it there, but actually, it is a gamble.
Yes.
There's a lot of the other fish are much more nailed on. They are going to be good. If that sumi don't come up, and you just get a little bit here,
but for me, I for him to say I'd like you to have it. If that comes in at the end of the season, mate, and that sumi is starting to come. Or up, I don't know what the development is. It could be a diamond, couldn't it?
Oh, well, I think it probably is. That's the most similar to the parent in terms. I mean, structure's amazing, isn't it? You are just waiting on the sumi, and it's there. That's the only gamble, isn't it?
Yeah,
not a gamble. They're giving it to
you. But as a sale, that is extremely difficult. As a sale. I've got a Sakai Sanke down in the shop that last year all of the sumi was sat like this on the picture. This year, mate, over the winter, that sumi has gone pop, 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 pop all over it, and it looks absolutely dreamy now. But
there's a lot of people, see. We talk about a fish like that, and people go, yeah, but sumi can come out in the wrong places. It can come out too much, too speckledy. It's not just that it comes out; it's got to come out right. Yeah, and that's the gamble as well. Sumi will come out on that, but it might not come out in the nicest way. You'd hope it will, and for me, that'd be all day long to put the choice to punch.
I mean, 25 cm, if we get the growing season that we had last year, which is probably very unlikely because getting 2 growing seasons back to back like that, I don't know. One thing we do know is they got a lot of water this year, considering the amount of bloody snow that they had. So water shouldn't be an issue. So if they have a good growing season, there's a very good chance it could come back at 50 cm out of one season. So when that comes back, it will stay in my pond for a minimum of 4 years, just to see and watch the development of it. And I've agreed that I'll send over periodic photographs to Yamaguchi. So, Kujaku, Matt, anything you want to add on that?
Well, I think Rich has covered it all. On the pattern wise, the Benny is just an awesome fish. It's just gotta keep your fingers crossed and hope it pops out.
So can you see? You can't see the mouse on there. I'm looking on my own screen. I'm saying just there, and you can't even see it. So one thing that would put people off is the chunk missing out the tail. You know, that actually was purposely done. And there's, well, I said to Yamas about it when I seen it, and he said that'll all grow back by the end of the year. That you won't even notice that. It was.
If you think how much that fish is going to grow in the summer, yeah, that little bit of finnage, the top ray's still there. It's nothing for the. That fish is going to grow from 25 to 50 cm. Is probably what the equivalent of 10 times.
Fucking 10 times
the mass. You know, you're doubling the length, but you're probably talking 10 times the fish, the weight, the size, everything about it. So yeah, it's mental when you see them.
Again, I'm just playing, but that's the mum. What an absolute dreamy fish.
But yeah, that's just absolute top notch fish, though, isn't it?
You can see the fucking in it as well. I really love that in a fish.
Yeah, but that's not fish if it comes out of, you know, Abby, was it 85 cm, did you say?
What, this one?
Yeah.
95, I think. I'll have to have a look back on the chat. It's either 92 or 95.
But when if that come over, if it goes to the show, it's just best fishing. It's monster and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, if you can keep the condition of it, yeah, 100%. But let's stop the screen because I want to see what. Yeah, automatically. Right, I'm going to go through the comments. Let's have a look at the comments because you're all boring and don't put any questions in. But we've got hundreds of people in. Anybody new? Paul C, are you, mate? Your fish is looking really well, by the way. Tia's in. Tia, you need to come and buy some fish. Alan's in. Mark Child's in. Evening, Matt and Rick. Hang on a minute. I need to go up a little bit. Mate, and all
you did this the night.
Right, Paul Hutchinson put something. I just want to give a shout out to Complete Pond Detox. Product placement. We like that. I moved 3 weeks ago and I didn't have much time. 10 pond finished at 1:30. Fish were in by 8 a.m. the following day. I have complete faith in it now. It is a good product for a sticking plaster, absolutely. You know, and it sells like hotcakes as well. Every time we get some in, it's always ting. What's Jeff saying? Jeff, Gaz took the night off because his hemorrhoids are playing. Why didn't I read that before I put it up? Cheers, Jeff. I didn't realise that, mate, but at least we all know now. And your broadcast
didn't get well soon.
So
cream in the post.
Okay, 27th today. Today is the last day of the quarantine from the fish that was bought in this year. So my stock, not all of them will be going out because not all of them have finished their QT period. A couple of little issues that I'm just dealing with at the moment, which means they're not ready to sell. Nothing to worry about. I'm just not ready to sell them until they're ready to go. You know, I don't want to put them through it. So, but as of tomorrow, they will be going. As long as when I get in tomorrow morning, they're looking all right. The covers have come off and the pricing will go up. So, what about you, Matt? Yours sorted now? Are yours ready to go yet, or are you still?
No, it's still got 2 weeks left to go.
You doing a 6-week period here?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they are doing really well. I sent over a video just a minute ago for you to have a look at, but they are.
I've seen it come in.
Jumping.
Right. So while we're on, let me.
I want to see if you can actually do it more than anything crafty.
I can do it, mate. It's just about getting. It's just more about getting more about getting it done so it's a little bit more slicker, if you know what I mean. I know where the buttons are and stuff like that, so it can go a little bit more fluid.
So while we're on here, right? So tonight we're covering the GKP.
Yeah.
What day are you planning on doing this shenanigans?
Thursday at 7:30. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Answer: I don't know yet, because Tuesdays I take up the boring slot, i.e., nothing going on with the auction. So I've got to have a look, because what I don't want to do is tread on everyone else's toes. But if I've got to tread on toes, I will tread on toes because I want to do it. But ultimately, the first thing I'm going to look at is who's doing what on the sort of koi tubey scene. So if there's something going on like Ricky Stoddart's live and stuff like that, I won't encroach on that. It's not good for me. It's not good for him. It's not good for anyone. So same with Gaz's live. I still want to be on that. It's just something completely different. So rather than it being a chat, what I'm going to be doing is I'll bring your video up in a sec, Matt. What I want to do is, for example, pick Shiro Atsuri as a variety, and then talk about the history on it, the development of it, who are the best breeders to go to, and Alan Tate has agreed to come on to do a little bit of info, because it's not about selling fish, it's more of a show, right? So I'm sort of detaching away from that, and then getting other people on like Oase and EA to demonstrate their products and why people should buy them. And it also gives the general public the ability to get a bit of one-to-one time with manufacturers as well, because they've got so many products in the pipeline, or they've got so many demonstration videos, and some of the stuff is actually that I see is really good marketing material, but it also gives you a really good idea of the lengths that they go to in order to produce something. And also they will share the problems that they've had trying to get it there, which I think is really important for everyone to know about. So, I've agreed that if they come on, that, as long as it's like, I bought this is shit and that shit, I just won't put that up on the screen. But if people have got valid questions that, right, how do I do this? Or I've got this size pond, what would you do, etc., then he's got the ability, because for example, Richard Hadley that works at Oase, he's a genius when it comes to water management with his product. So when we was doing the golf course, we needed to move a huge amount of water quickly to generate a really powerful waterfall. He took the schematics away and then calculated how much water needed to move from A to B, how much you would lose in performance on certain pumps, and then give you lots of different options to suit your pocket. And when I started to see what all the calculations that he'd done, it blew my mind. It even gives you the flow rates and how much is moving a second, and and I've had a couple of customers at work that I've pushed his way with regards to how they want their pond set up. So he can then actually provide the right equipment to produce the right movement in the water based on what they want. And it blows my mind what he comes up with, because he's well out of, I mean, he's got software that can help him, but ultimately having that service, not a lot of people know that they do that. And it's the after service that comes with Oase as well that not a lot of people know about, so and some of their products like the quad core pumps that have just come out, people don't know what they are. They don't understand why they cost the money they do, right? And Lee Hadfield put a couple of pumps on his pond, but it doesn't go down into the product spec and what it can actually achieve, other than Lee saying, oh, it's really this and that, and it's got that in it. But there's no real product knowledge behind it. What Lee
come with that should also come with the product, shouldn't it?
Yes.
It uses this amount of power, longevity, done. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, no, it's a great point, mate.
You know, but then if I've got a video that they've created that then creates cutscene, like starts producing a model that's cut down the middle and then shows how it all works, you don't get that in any shot. There's no video showing that, and people don't necessarily look for it. But it's what they show us, you know, as part of our training, that because they actually come out and do training with us. So for me, why don't we share that with people out there, you know, and give people the real knowledge about what it is that they're looking at? It may just change people's opinions on what's available and how good they are. You just don't know, you know. But that's the whole thing behind it. And on top of that, I'm also doing like Koi SOS or Koi 101, where it's going to be an hour to hour and a half long an episode. Right? I don't want it to drag on for 5 hours. I just literally want to go, this is what we're doing. So we've got 10 minutes talking about water quality or feeding or a koi health problem. I want to put like little educational videos together about how to scrape and then show what parasites look like on video. But then put that up and then ask the audience, what parasite are we dealing with here? You know, a bit of audience interaction, and then going on how we treat that, or show things like bacterial disease, right? What really is a bacterial issue and how that goes, you know. But I've got about 6 to 7 weeks worth of stuff all jotted out now, like literally loads of it. And I just want to then catalogue it. So we're talking about Kujaku and skin parasite like fluke or something, and then Q&As, and then Oase, you know, Shiro Atsuri, Q&As, koi competition, blah, blah. You know, just want to, so people can go back as reference points, because as much as I love what Gaz does, I think that we're just missing that. I enjoy Gaz's platform. I enjoy being part of it, but I just need to do something myself that rather than expect other people to do it myself. You know,
I think the difference is like Gaz's platform is chatting, you get questions coming, and it goes off in a random direction. And that sometimes it works brilliantly, sometimes not so good. Depends on how.
Yeah, I'm not slating what Gaz does by any stretch, mate. It's just not the same format in my head what I would like to achieve, and it's not fair for me to go, Gaz, you should do this, because it's Gaz's show. He puts it out how he wants to, and it's worked, and it gets a big audience. But I just want to do something different for me, because I'm a bit ADHD and don't like watching telly, and I sort of need shit to do all the time.
You might do what Matt does and just ask the questions you want to know the answers to.
But, right, I've got one from Tony Barker. Question: in your opinion, how should newly imported koi be quarantined by the dealer receiving them? And after purchase, how should a hobbyist quarantine their new purchase, if at all? So, right, let's break that down into 3 parts, because that's exactly what it is. Right, I will fire this out to you, Matt, first. Right, first part of the question: how should newly imported koi be quarantined by the dealer?
I would love and care. I've had enough. I said to Rich earlier on, I had enough of the last 4 weeks. So in my case here, I've got 3 different breeders in each of the tanks, which is not a big no-no. It's a big no-no in the sense of for traceability. If I was to have a problem with 3 lots of fish all in together, who's the guilty partner? That's down to me. That's not down to the whole issue, my problem. And yeah. So one good thing, I guess, with that is that I'm already introducing other fish coming all together in one tank, which is a bonus for me if everything goes well. It's not if it doesn't. The quarantining, basically, I may speak out of turn on here. We're probably, and I know you are crafty, you're heat ramping, and there's a lot of people out there that aren't, and I know they're not. And there's loads, and they will say that they're all doing the job properly and they're heat ramping, or they may put it in other words where they're tracing for KHV, etc., etc. And I know heat ramping isn't 100% foolproof, but and I know speaking for yourself, I know that you are and I am. We're doing the process properly with introducing triggerfish, which again we were talking about this one today. Heat ramping. I've done it twice now, third time to go. The triggerfish for sleepy disease, which is everybody, and I've heard you in the past say that you've got sleepy disease. Everybody gets it. You know, if they haven't had it, there's not something wrong, because some of the farms and more of the farms in Japan are triggering it themselves, so we don't have the issues here.
Absolutely.
You're all frozen. Oh, no,
Well, we can hear you still. We're just
It's
like
hard
that.
now. That's right. I've been doing this for weeks.
The bit and I keep thinking every day. So at the moment, I've got, and I'm on my own. So I have, apart from the wife helping, like tomorrow I'm going to Bristol to sort somebody out that's got a problem.
Yeah.
So tomorrow she'll look after it. Apart from that, I'm on my own. And it's just absolutely, if people think that quarantining their fish, or they have an inkling of how much that the dealers are making, boy, the amount of time and effort I've spent the last 4 weeks doing nothing but looking after my fish to get them through the quarantine process. And you see, actually, I'll share the picture in a minute, or the video.
Hang on, let me share what your fish are looking like now, because I know how to do this bit now, because I'm starting to get used to it. But
Right, so it's like Minecraft.
Have you got Hosakai in there?
Yeah, Hosakai. In that one, there's I think it was Miyatora, Sakasumi, and Maosaka.
Right, I'm going to teach you how to share a video in HD quality.
Well, I was trying to do that. I did it the other day, and I couldn't work out why I couldn't do it just a minute ago.
It's just a little in a button at the top. It's got HD in a little square. If you tap that and it goes solid, and then send it in a higher definition.
We get the gist, though. They're
Nice,
looking around.
I like the way you got that one in. Yeah,
I got to. That is the one that has given me so many sleepless nights. I've even put a camera on the pond now, and the customer came over that's bought it, came over and said, you would not understand how much effort or how much grief that fish has given me just by the scare factor of having such a quality fish there. And on my camera app on my phone, it shows when movement's been activated or when somebody's nooked. And I said, yeah, I'll show you last night. And this was only a week ago. Every 2 hours, and I haven't got the alarm clock on, every 2 hours through the night, you could see me, because there isn't anybody else, looking at the camera to make sure all the pumps are running, all the fish are okay, and we haven't had a suicidal one. You know, it's scary. No.
None of them are.
Yeah.
Right, so when they first got in, how long did you keep them to settle in before?
Like in the bags?
No, not the acclimation bullshit. Like how long did you keep them in your pond before you actually interacted, so to speak?
What, with food?
With anything, yeah.
Well, they were funny, they were, because literally, because we had so many bags in each of the ponds, as they were coming out the bag, they would disperse, and that was it. But then you could see them as you were releasing the bags, other ones coming up, trying to grab, because the tanks had been empty for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Nothing, you know. So you had the algae growing all around the outsides of the pond.
Yeah.
And literally within 5 minutes of coming out the bag, they were feeding like they were feeding them on the algae. It was just absolutely nuts. So interacting with them, no, they interacted with me within minutes. You know, they were just insane. And when you think how far they've travelled and how long they've been in those bags, And I still get it asked today when people come to pick up fish, like, will it be okay in the bag for an hour? Like, yeah, no problem at all.
Well, that does. But so for me, they go into the pond and the covers go on, and then they don't get anything for 48 hours. Although it's quite hard because where they're quarantined, they still get a lot of footfall. But we pretty much shut the department down. So it's right. The boss is just messaging me. What's he put in?
Don't forget the Kujakus.
yeah, and it's something like that. So they get covered 48 hours to allow them to settle in. Now you get problems almost straight away. We had a problem with one set of fish where their eyes started to literally pop out their heads, which I think Rick hit the nail on the head last week, which was the salt content they must have come from, and then into the pond that they was put into. It literally had a bit of an adverse effect because as soon as I put the salt right up, after about three or 4 days, they started to recede really quickly. And it was overnight. I come in the following day after, say one day they was all sat, eyes popping. Next day I come in, all their eyes were back to normal, and they was up skimming about like nothing had happened. Absolutely insane. But and then from there we literally introduce at a 0.3 on the salt, minimum 16 degrees in the tank, and then from there we then literally go through settling in period. The experience I've got, there's a couple of breeders that do not do the sleeping sickness thing, so it's about prioritizing those breeders out and trying to induce sleeping sickness by throwing in a dirty big fish into little 12 to 14 Akamatsuba, so you'll know which breeder I'm on about, being Otsuka. I had a special purchase of 100 of them, and I put in enough looking Deutz fish that's lost its colour, that is Sanzai now. Absolute beast, and they just shit themselves as soon as that went in. They was opposite ends of the fish tank, just like bowing round it, and then the heat literally went straight up to 24. Not gradually, it literally went as quick as that heater would pick it up to 24, where it sat for a couple of days, and lo and behold, within half an hour of that fish going in, the water started to froth like mad. Like, come back, and the froth that was on top of the pond, because when you get sleeping sickness, them fish start to really kick out a load of crap, and the water goes to shit really quickly. So half a dose of Alfrex in there, let it do its business. Next day, 50% water change, top up on salt. I'd never top up on Alfrex unless the fish are not coming round. And actually, I got it better than last year. Last year, I think I had with Otsuka, because we ended up mixing 2 bags of fish in error. One of the lads put some fish in the wrong pond, and it ended up mixing. So I had Hosokai and Otsuka together, and they went, and I was battling sleeping sickness for about 6 weeks. It's like every time I thought that I was out of it, I started to drop the temperature, and then on the side they went again. And to a point where the fish looked quite poorly, because the amount of body they were starting to lose as well. And we did lose about 6 or 7 fish as a result. But the bodies literally started becoming rather skinny. So I then had to, once we got them out of it, then I had to feed them back up before they go to sale. So, the amount of time and effort, like Matt says, that goes into it when you get a problem, bit of lack of experience, but it's not a problem to me, because you got to learn your trade. But yeah, this year I was able to identify it sooner, know what measures to put in place, and literally turn it round. And touch wood, I had one pond go down with sleeping sickness twice. had to give it a third dose basically, and they're all looking good. You know, it's literally just one fucking fish. It was. It's like, why? You know, but if one's like it, they all get the same treatment. That's how it goes. But one bag of fish travelled a little bit badly, probably overpacked for the size of the box, which meant they come with quite bad ammonia burn. And then I didn't help that because, again, I'm quite methodical. Is that the right word? I don't know. But I've got everything lined out with everything labelled up, so I know what fish go in what ponds. And the little Shiro that I bought over from Kobayashi, I ended up with 230 instead of 200. And I put them all in the same pond, come back the next morning. Not only did they look a little bit rough from the journey, but the next day they looked even fucking worse. And that because the limit that I can really keep that size fish in our ponds is about 120. So there's about 110 overstock, so double the stock. And yeah, they was bad. So I had to quickly net them up, split them into 2 ponds, and yeah, unfortunately, lost a few. But part of the learning curve, you know. But one thing I'm going to get into on the show is breakdown of koi prices and actually how much goes into it, because I don't think people realise the price of koi. They think that all dealers are rolling in cash when it's actually the complete opposite. I would love to be able to show people what our account is like at the end of the year, and people I think would really like raise their eyebrows at, you know, how hard it is to actually stay open sometimes, you know, in order for us to get to where we are. So when I see these comments on YouTube, which is not an overpriced koi in sight, people just ain't got a fucking clue, actually, you know.
But that a lot of that comes down to A, what you pay for the fish, B, what you pay for transport, C, how you pay to look after it, D, what you pay to feed it. There's so many parts to that it's difficult. And how do you even quantify it? You can buy from the same farm a console box with 100 fish to a box at £5 each, or better ones and being paying 50 quid each. And the difference is quite massive to those that know, but those that don't know, it's still a Goshiki from that farm. It's
Correct.
Still a from that farm.
Yeah.
And how come this is 20 quid and yours is 100 quid? Well, because there's difference in quality, there's difference in whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There is monster. Yeah.
We see that a lot. We see that a lot where people send a message over and say, "Oh, what of these have you got?" They go, "I've actually got some of them. Let me send you a picture." Yeah, I like that. How much are they? And they come back, no, I've seen them on this website for this amount. It's excuse language. You can fucking see the difference, big time. And yeah, they don't understand. Not everybody, some.
Not everybody. No, a lot of people do. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of costing, because I want to actually. What I really want to do is sort of break down all the overheads that are involved of being able to go to Japan, select koi, the price of koi pond side versus buying a box that are imported in, you know, without actually giving real figures, because, you know, if people see how much we really paid, then I think that people would go, holy fuck. Because when you're going down that road of buying a 15 cm fish for 800 quid, right? But then the tozai are for sale for 80 quid in the shop. It's like, justify that. Anybody justify that, because people just don't know. And how much money you make on that is minimal in comparison to the lengths that you go to source just one fish, for example. You know,
well, I don't mind saying, for me to go to Japan, and I always had, because I had never been to Japan before.
Yeah.
So for me, it was my own personal big time visit that I wanted to do. So it was never, ever, it was Harry Koi is me. So it's hard to explain, but I wanted to go to Japan on my cost, my money, and not have to reflect that in the price of my fish. But then when I sit there and work out the cost of me taking the time off work, which would be no different to yourself, Crafty, as being employed, your flights, your food, your bullet train, your accommodation, etc., that week probably cost me close to $5,000. So where does that's got to be built into somewhere, and the visit going to Japan isn't just like what everybody thought it was for me and Rich, just mass piss out. It was a
part of it though, wasn't it?
It was a case of going over there and bringing back, all the fish I brought back. I can say that, yeah, there's some fish in there that I don't like, but that is my own personal dislike. But every single fish that I brought back had probably 2, definitely 3 people look over those fish and all say they were banging, and they are. Where previously, when I wasn't going to Japan and I was buying them in shortest console, you would get 20-25% of the fish were banging. The rest of the fish would drop off in quality all the way down to you wouldn't actually want to sell. You don't want them going out into the marketplace because they're bloody awful.
But the difference is people will buy. That's where the price gets reflected, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're going to go and hand select your fish and pay a premium to do so, then you need to sell those fish as a premium they should be worth, because the quality is that much better in it. That's the long and the short of it. So yes, you can sit here and buy console fish cheaper and you get some good stuff. It's just what you do, isn't it? You can market in, it sells. Our farm relies on people buying fish that are cheaper than what you get from Japan, because that's how our farm relies on it. And that's, yes, we produce some fish that might be equivalent, but the vast majority are cheaper and for lesser grade, basically, isn't it? That's the long and the short of it. Thousands of people keep koi that will not spend hundreds of pounds on a fish. They love their fish, love them to bits, but they have budgets, they have limits. From goldfish to bumpkins to cheaper koi to ghosties to the whole thing. Rest of it, isn't it? I didn't say butterflies at all.
It is something that will. I mean, I don't know what your phones are like, but let me see if I can do this. It's literally all koi, with the exception of a few bits and bobs on there. Right, and
I thought it's one of those pixelated things. You got to guess what it is.
But it's like when I look back on what we was selling when I first got to the store against what we've got now, it's different level, completely different level. The quality of the fish are insanely better. Right, and that comes with going out to Japan and being able to select the fish out. All right, them fish then cost us, up to 8-10 times more than what they would in console, but you're getting back not just the top 20 or 20% that are decent in a box. You're getting everything back that you think is decent, with the exception of 1 or 2. The issue that you have after that is, once everyone's dipped their nets in and took the ones that they like, the ones that stand out the most tend to go really quickly, obviously. But then you've got the risk of what they look like at the end of the season, the ones that remain. Some start to blossom, others start to fall off in quality. Being in the store environment is, for me, not the best life for a koi. Some will naturally just get better. Others, they fall to bits quite quickly as well. So we lose a huge amount of money just by those fish not selling early on, and then fall into bits in your pond. But
you also learn when you pick them, there'll be traits that, if you know breeders, you know traits, you know what fish you're going to do, that what fish to avoid. That's just the business you're kind of in, how it is, isn't it? You'll always, but the demand, obviously, if you buy better and better fish and have better and better fish, but obviously it costs more and more money, there's still the market for the other end of the hobby.
Yeah.
And as much as I'd love to just do top end fish and just breed, you know, keep my best 100 fish and grow them out, and they'll be the ones we keep for a year, that will never pay the bills. It just doesn't work like that. So, yeah, I mean, you've got to have scope for everyone, and it's difficult sometimes. Matt's slightly different because you'll see his establishment somewhere you can't have massive footfall. You, on the other hand, do have massive footfall. So
I wish I didn't.
Your top end for all your better hand selected fish, but you've also got the option to have cheaper on the mill fish for those people that have only got 10, 20 quid to spend on fish.
100%. That's where I'm lucky, because we can do that, you know. But ultimately, for us, we buy console as well as go to Japan now. That's the new model. That's what we're doing. So, you know, but for someone like Matt, with no disrespect, Matt, when I say this, but like your business model being a smaller dealer, you know, it becomes harder for you even more.
Yeah, we've been talking about it today. You know, we've got all of these going to come out in quarantine in 6 weeks' time, and I haven't got the room for them. You know, it's going to be a push. I'll get there, but it's going to be a struggle.
Well, the thing is, you build ponds, don't you? So you can always throw a few fish in once they're done, can't you, for free?
For free, not those fish, not.
Unfortunately, like, you know, I've made some unintentional purchases this year that I shouldn't have done. So that ain't going to be happening this year.
Build them into your price, mate. That's what I'd do. You know what I mean?
But anyway, mate, they're not coming out of quarantine in 6 weeks. They're coming out next week and the week after.
Yeah.
Easter.
4 to 6 weeks. You aim off for Easter, don't you? You know?
That's what I want to be. Literally, Easter is the weekend.
Let's get back.
We're going to do a strawberries and cream day.
Free egg with every fish.
No, because I got rid of all the chicken egg. I got rid of them all 54 of them.
Right, Rick, here you go. Right, first part of the question: how should newly imported koi be quarantined by the dealer? Right, there's heat ramping is one source. So basically, just in a nutshell, that's the methodology that I use and what Matt has just been talking about, which is putting them through a stress environment, ramping them up to a certain temperature, inducing sleeping sickness, and trying to break out KHV if it's present. Right? That's the whole purpose behind it. Hopefully, if you get sleeping sickness, they come out. And Suzanne, I have seen your this one. Once they have sleeping sickness, can they get it again or transmit it to other fish? So it's not the fact that they can get it again. Once they've had it and they've built an immunity to it, they can constantly be a carrier. So that's the whole point of putting in stress fish that you know have gone through that process, so it can induce it.
Yeah, crap. Let's explain what sleepy disease is then, because we're talking about it as one virus or one issue, and it's not. It's a collective of all different symptoms. So on a human, say for instance, during COVID, we were all separated away into our own households, and then when we all came back together, there was all of these colds and flus and everything else that everybody would catch, and everybody just wanted to go back into bed, get the duvet over top of them and warm up. And that's in effect what we're trying to do to the koi, bring their immune level up. What are you laughing, Rick? You got a smirk.
Imagine you getting cold and want to go back to bed.
Yeah.
Sleeping disease is in itself a particular virus, but there's lots of other issues that go on. But our biggest problem as a farm we had is we didn't expose anything to it. So when they go off to other people's ponds, they then go, holy shit, what is this? But you also get different different varieties of fish react differently as well. So it's not an easy thing, but in the way we're talking about here, what you're doing is you're taking a batch of young fish, exposing them to an older fish that's carrying, potential problems that you're going to get in an everyday pond. It's not a massive health issue. It's not a massive problem, but it can be in the wrong environment. It can be a problem. So that's hardened up. The Japanese used to call it hardening. So they'd stick all their tozai into a pond, chucking 2 or 3 year old fish in there, and expose those fish to what those fish have got to deal with in later life, in an environment where they can nurse them through it in the best possible way, which is temperature and salt.
So, Ricky,
what you're doing.
I know you answered this one, so I'm smiling on it. So, if somebody comes into the shop and they've had all their fish in their pond, they haven't bought any fish for 15 years, they haven't gone in there and eaten 5, and they want to buy 5 new tozai to go into that pond, how happy are you?
Generally not. The problem is, if you've got an existing population of fish for a long time, any new fish that go in there are going to cause a problem. There's going to be a reaction. And if people have had fish for 20 years in a pond and the fish are happy and they put new fish in there, they're always going to blame the new fish. And it is a new fish that's the problem, but it's like anything. You're a Native American in the jungle for 100 years and a European comes along with smallpox, whatever. You haven't got any immunity to it. So, yeah, we always have a chat with people and try and work out what's the best way to go forward. But in terms of quarantine, what you're trying to do is produce a fish that is strong and ready to go out into everyday ponds of the customer. So it's not going to go out in a pond and then go, holy shit, I'm going to lay on the bottom, I can't take this, or cause problems. Yeah, it is a difficult one. We spent years doing our fish in a very sterile manner and having no issues at all. And you get them to the shop and they're fine. And then when they go off to customers' ponds, if they've got our fish, they're fine. But they've got anyone else's fish, they had problems. It's like, what is going on? And it's because they've got no immunity to what they're coming across. So, yes, you want to give your fish immunity to the basics they're going to see, but it only goes so far. You don't want to. Some diseases are notifiable because they're a problem. KHV, SVC, certain strains of flukes. Hopefully, we don't generally see that you can't treat for, that they're an issue that will wipe out 60, 70, 80% of stock regardless. There's no dealing with it. So yeah, there is no rules with quarantine. That's the problem. You could buy fish from Japan, pick them up at the airport, take them to a show, take them to your shop, sell them. You can't get done for that. Your pet shop license, if you've got one, might say you should do this, that, and the other. There is no real rules. As a dealer, you want to make sure you're selling fish that are going to not cause other people problems. So you've got to do what you feel is correct to make sure those fish have not got a health issue. So you could take it that the farm in Japan is tested, so they're good. Okay, they haven't got a problem. I'm going to just set them in and sell them 2 days later. You can quarantine them 4 or 5 weeks, heat ramping them. You could send off samples for testing. There is no hard and fast rule. You can take one fish for sampling, but that doesn't mean the whole batch is fine. Doesn't mean next door batch is fine. You can heat ramp, and you're doing everything to the best of your knowledge that you're not selling a fish that's got an issue. That's all you can do. And by getting the batch in, putting them through heat ramping, stressing, adding other fish to them, we do it the other way around, perhaps more so that generally we're buying broodstock, we're buying older fish. So we put some of our young fish with them, not to see the broodstock die, to see our young fish die. That's a problem, whatever. But it's a similar scenario. We're just going through it. But ultimately, every single step of the chain is traceability. It's having that. You can put your hand on your heart and say, I brought them from a source that said they're good. They've got the paperwork that say they're good. I put them through these processes. There's not been a problem. I've mixed them with other fish that I know are fine. There's not been a problem. I sold them to you. You're doing everything you can to above and beyond, whichever way you want to do it.
In reality, those fish could have been in that pond, and you've added your fish into the pond, and they've gone down KHV, and there's nothing to say it's actually come from your fish either, because it's been sat in one of the other fish that are in the pond for the last 6 months, 9 months, or whatever, and hasn't been under the stress and hasn't triggered KHV. I don't think has anybody ever been prosecuted for KHV?
Yeah.
What they have they?
What, hobbyist wise? No.
No, you can't be prosecuted as a hobbyist. You've been prosecuted as a dealer for knowingly selling fish that have got an issue. And yes, there have been done for it.
That must be.
I don't want to get out there. How do you want to go? But at the end of the day, there is the problem is the only thing that you can get done for is knowingly selling fish that have got a problem. So if you go through all your processes, buying the fish, tracking them, doing everything DEFRA or your pet shop license or whatever and if something was to happen further down the line and it goes to a court and you've done everything you can in every manner that you deem fit and it follows, whether it's a pet shop license or with us, a DEFRA license, whatever, then you've done everything you can. You're not knowingly selling fish that have got a problem and there's a problem down the line. And at the end of the day, that's where the grey areas can occur, because if that customer says, "Oh, I only bought fish from them," but then his neighbour goes, "Oh yeah, but I put some fish in your pond from so and so," or someone else happened, or whatever. This is where trusting the dealer trusting the supplier, the farm, all these things go hand in hand, and it isn't foolproof. There is still problems occur, but luckily there are a lot less than they ever used to be. When KHV was a massive problem, we had a meeting at CFAS, and they imported fish from 9 countries, 14 farms from 9 countries, and they found KHV in 7 batches of fish, but they wouldn't stop imports from those countries. And it's like, well, what's the point? Oh, well, they're ornamental fish. It doesn't come under the regulation of normal cyprinids and whatever. He screwed it then, didn't you? And that's why there's so much KHV in this country. It's coming off the notifiable list. That's the next plan. So it won't even be a notifiable disease. It's a deadly disease for carp, but it's too widespread for it to be controllable. They're taken off the notifiable list. It won't stop the reputable dealers doing exactly what they do, because you're protecting your stock, your customer's stock. You're doing the honest in what you should do as a businessman in this environment. But there's still other people that buy and sell fish regardless.
Yeah, that's the bit that people have to work out for themselves. And like I'll say to anyone, really, you should challenge your dealer if you're not sure. Ask to have a look at their
I was going to say
records, their water records, their scrape records, because part of the pet shop license dictates that you are to have these readily available, and we get snap inspections from council to make sure that we are living up to our policies, and that's one thing that for me, I know I've batted on about it before, but having a 5-star pet shop license is, it's not easy to achieve. You've got to really tick a lot of boxes, and Rick will back me when he's seen the level of detail that I've gone into to provide the council in order to achieve that. Not, and my operation is bigger than Matt's and bigger than Rick's, like with regards to how many staff we have going through and the level of sales of different stock, but Rick's operation is completely different. So not everyone goes hand in hand, but one thing that does go hand in hand is having the ability to show how you look after your fish, and at the end of the day, that's what it's about. So if you are seeing a 3-star pet shop license, then it generally means they're in their first year of trade, and they're having to learn the ropes. So, they're the people that you really should be, well, anyone, even more so those people on a freestyle that are learning the trade, because there's a huge amount of records that you have to keep. And to be honest, I wish we didn't, because it takes a fucking.
Oh, it's massive. It is a pain in the ass. I just paid my bill yesterday for the inspection, hopefully next week. And we're talking about overheads of running one of these places, £500. I just had to send them. And I'm like, what? And I actually asked the woman on the phone, what are you actually doing for £500?
Well, they're doing nothing, because the people that come out.
She said, well, that's you down to a 2-star.
No, she did that.
The people that come out haven't got a clue about what you're doing.
No,
it's like
in our old premises, when she came out, she said, so are these marine fish or freshwater? Like, what? And it's nuts. But then they're getting the book out, and they're like, I want to see this, and I want to see this, and I want to see this. And where's your fire evacuation system? What happens if you have a fire? So, well, considering you're going into a shed that's got one door, if it's a fire by the door, you're fucked. But you've got plenty of water. You've got plenty of water to put it out.
It's going to hide under the wall.
Electrics, mate. You need CO2, don't you?
Yeah,
mate. With last inspection, right? Bearing in mind the amount of ponds we've got, right? When you go behind the filters, the amount of pipe work there is fucking insane. And every now and then we get a little bit of a drippy leak. Not the end of the world. Who hasn't got a drippy leak? And the amount of ponds we've got, it happens.
That's me age.
It was dripping onto one of the pumps. Literally a really, really low level drip that was happening once every 3 or 4 minutes, right? And she went behind and she went, that's dangerous. I was like, what's dangerous? She said, well, you've got a leak on your pond and it's dripping onto the electrics. I went, right. It's like, that's health and safety. I said, don't go near it. Why? I said, you won't get electrocuted, love. Why not? I said, these pumps are designed to go into water. There's literally nothing there that is dangerous. No, we're going to have to see records on this. And believe it or not, we have to have a yearly sort of registration done on the electrics. So, it's just showing shit like that just to get your pet shop license. But anyway, we digress. So other than heat ramping, Rick, how else can dealers go through a quarantine process?
You can do your PCR testing if you want to send off samples. But yeah, in reality, you can put in nave fish with them that like I say, what we do, young fish with older stock that are, I wouldn't say disease-free in terms of diseases you really don't want to see, and put them through. But yeah, it's all, quarantine just means basically to keep separate for a period of time, but to keep separate on their own doesn't show the whole thing, which is why you need to start mixing other fish with them one way or another, whether you're mixing older fish to encourage sleeping sickness or other problems, or whether you're putting young fish in to see if they can pick up something off of the stock you're buying. We just call it belt and braces. Every hurdle you go through, you have a bit more trust and feeling for those fish. So whether you do a standard sort of 4-week heat ramping quarantine, extend it to a 8-week with introducing other fish and doing whatever, whether you want to send fish off. But at the end of the day, if you want to send samples off from a batch, again, it's only one fish being tested.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's not across the board. Yes, it's another safety zone, and if it's a batch of fish that have travelled or whatever, but I'd say we don't tend to buy that many. And after the last few weeks, we have more trouble with our brood stock and the stuff we buy than I spent more time looking after a couple of 100 imported fish than 6,000 on my own tow site. But perhaps that should be the case as well, because that's, one dealer was saying that's used to our water, used to our temperature, used to the environment, used to what health problems they got, to another batch that have just gone through a shitstorm of travel.
But you say that though, Rick, I've just bought in, like Matt has, lots of different breeders, right? And they all travel completely differently. So you spend more time on some than you do others, naturally. Some of them are a right pain in the backside, if I'm perfectly honest. And
But a lot of that again comes down to variety as well, which is where, because we haven't had the heated facilities the last couple of winters with the farm, what we're doing, we purposely haven't had lots of Goshiki to overwinter. Because if you haven't got heated facilities, you can't realistically look after loads of Tosai Goshiki. They're just a pain in the ass. But most other varieties, you can. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that I brought back from Japan. I've got 2 setups, just 2 farms, 1 farm in each. One farm turned up in the water was just horrendous. I still can't go over how bad it was, but they've come through. They're absolutely, you know, the losses were minimal. Fish and mint now. The other batch were absolutely mint on arrival. Were mint for 2 weeks, and after 2 it was 16 days, and then went in there, and all the Goshiki suddenly was like, that's a bit off. Every Yamaguchi, and all from the same farm. Every Yamaguchi's fine. Every Goshiki just was a bit weird. Next day, absolutely frothy as fuck. Gone down with sleeping sickness. And so, well, I'm 17 days into quarantine,
and now they've hit it
all from one farm, all being fine. Suddenly now I've got
the same as me.
Back up, deal with this on their own, and nurse them through. It probably took 72 hours for them to go from looking just death's door to mint.
Yeah,
it's so quick, and it's you know they go down and they come back up, but that only happens when you can get the temperature and the salt into the right zone that quickly
and pick it up at the right time.
And it's one of those that the whole thing about them, they change the eyes, the body shape, the skin, everything just in that window. They go from looking mint condition to looking
like,
oh my god,
the whole life out of them. They're like.
Always, I was going to say, it always seems to be the eyes that just sink straight back into the skulls, and it's like they don't look right. And
it's how they come out the other end that counts, though, isn't it? Because you know, the longer they've been through it, the more fuck they look afterwards, and it can actually give you longer term problems if you don't get on top of it quick enough. Like fucking heads being like shrunken in and things like that with their development, but. You know,
there's different schools of thought about it, and there's different. So years ago, when we first saw this, this didn't exist. It was like it existed, but the way you deal with it didn't exist. So we'd have, you know, bunches with harvest our Sanke and Kujaku, whatever, and then put them into their ponds for overwintering, and suddenly you trigger it accidentally in November, and it'd be 10 degrees.
Yeah.
And your fish would start going to shit, and you'd be like, "What? Now, you know?" And you'd be doing everything. You're scraping, they're fine, nothing. You know, so you get hold of a vet. What's going on? Oh, there's nothing going on. And it was an absolute learning curve how to deal with. You know, if someone just said, and it was only speaking to a few people that deal with Japanese fish. You know, you need 26 degrees. You need salt up to whatever. And it was like the miracle cure. And it's like, well, holy, you know. But without being able to, when you've got 10,000 fish spread across multiple ponds to deal with it, unless you're set up to deal with it, you can't deal with it.
Absolutely. And that's when I come across it as a hobbyist about 5 years ago. All right. I put a couple of fish in. In fact, they was bought for me. I put them in, and one fish just kept laying on its side, and there was absolutely zero information available about what was really going on with it, and come across sleeping sickness in tropical fish, but nothing for cold water. You know, and it's like, but there was still no way of really knowing how to do it. So it's like, what meds do you put in? You know, it's like, has it got enough air? And it's like, how do you come out of it? So to go into what Suzanne asked, which was, you know, it's better to go Tosai or Nisai. It matters not. If your fish have not been exposed to sleeping sickness, and you put some in your pond that has had it, there's a very good chance it's going to pass on, and you're going to find well, unless you're heated and got the ability to salt heavy, then you know you're not coming out of it. That fish, you know, 9 times out of 10 will not recover from it. It will just be a long, slow, painful fatality. Well, not painful, but a long, slow fatality. You know, because
the thing is, most most koi you buy anywhere have been through it. That's the thing, unless you're buying, like I say, stuff we used to supply 20 years ago, where we'd kept them so isolated and so biosecure that suddenly we're selling fish that have just literally got no immunity to dropping into that environment. But that's a learning.
Your fish now, Rick. I mean, I sell your fish, mate. They're fucking hardy as they come. It's like
that's certain varieties and being put through certain environments to make sure they're good for the customer, isn't it? And that's something we've had to learn how to do. And still, some farms in Japan do it differently, don't they? So you get some that will harvest their fish and put them through it, and others that don't expose them to it. So when they arrive with you, the first thing they do is meet another fish and go, "Holy shit, we're all going to lie on the bottom." And that's it's
when we were in Koda, they had some really big Goshiki swimming around in there, didn't they? Did we actually find out whether they were triggerfish or they were just bigger growers?
In Kano, they were just bigger toes. There were all sizes in there. So they were shooters in with,
They were massive, weren't they?
But that's the trouble. Isn't it? You get Goshiki, one of the worst, isn't it? That you get splits. You get some that do grow really well, but the majority don't. Certainly the pretty ones tend to grow a bit slower. After purchase, so we haven't even finished this one bloody question.
Well, it's a big question, to be fair.
It is a big question. To be fair, every hobbyist should quarantine their fish. It's your own. At the end of the day, if you've got a pond with your pride and joy 50, 20, whatever koi in it, ideally you would have a decent quarantine setup to quarantine your new fish. But I understand the reality, and probably 80% of our customers don't have quarantine facilities.
One thing that I done as a hobbyist was build a second pond, only a little one, 1,000 litres, nothing more. And I have got stock in there that has been in there for 4 years. I haven't really grown any. All right, if I'm honest, they're fish that I didn't really want in my main pond. So they sit in there, no problem. Anything that I get goes in there, or was. I mean, now I'm only getting fish from myself. So, I've only got myself to blame if I put anything in there, because I know what's happening. But, just put in fish in there. Now, there's two ways you can do it. You can have something like that, or from your main pond, like Rick says, is you put your old stock into that other pond to see how it reacts. The problem is that if you do get an issue, then you've put some of your fish from your main pond into your quarantine pond, but at least you're protecting your better fish, the ones that you call your better fish, from going through it. But if you can't do it, then it's understandable, because let's face it, not everyone's got the real estate. Not everybody can afford to run 2 ponds. And their garden pond is their be all and end all and their only source of fish. So this is where it comes back to understanding your dealer and what they go through in order to ensure that they give you the best healthy koi that they can possibly give you, and that's where dealer reputation really comes in its own. Because if they state they're doing it and they're not, then you can open yourself up to all sorts of trouble, as we've probably discussed tonight in length. What about you, Rick? And what about PP dipping before they go into ponds? Are you a fan of that? Because I'm not.
No, not me. I mean, to be fair, at the end of the day, I can't recommend highly enough, even people that buy just our fish, to have that separate facility to put stuff.
Yeah.
But so many people don't. And if you're not going to have it, if you just got one pond, just be super careful who you buy from, what you buy. But the problem with keeping koi is the biggest joy of it is buying fish, isn't it? We all love shopping. It's shopping for fish, isn't it?
That's one good thing about being a dealer. You get to do lots of shopping. But give it all away, which is really
be all and end all, isn't it? If you wanted to, you almost have two two types of hobbyists. You have those that buy the koi as pets, that they live in their pond for life. They buy them, they stay there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. And they might replace one a year that's done or whatever. And you get the others that learning about the hobby, that want to watch development, that want to see, and they tend to end up with more ponds because they can't have enough ponds and they want to see, and they want to change fish, and they buy some a year later. You just go for that process, don't you?
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with any of it, but in reality, if you love your stock, then
you must have
quarantine. If you can't quarantine, you've got to go to a dealer you trust. You trust with your daughter.
There's more than one way of having a second pond, like having a collapsible show vat. You know, that you've got the ability to run a separate, like, little pressurized system on it with a pump. You know, if you're not buying fish all the time, there's nothing wrong with setting one of them up as a quarantine facility for a few weeks. You know, you can go down that, so you can collapse it once you've done it. There's nothing wrong with that. You've just got to manage it more. That's the only thing. You know, there are means to an end. You don't have to have loads of different ponds for loads of different scenarios. That's the be all and end all. But anyway, enough of all that. I'm gonna share.
We haven't even seen these Kujakus yet. I thought we were discussing them.
I ain't showing any Kujakus today.
But yeah, the one thing I'd say about quarantine is mixing, keeping new stuff separate's one thing, but there's a good chance you'll buy new stuff that won't have a problem. You need to mix them with someone else.
Rich, so when you do your fire events, like you're doing one now at the moment, do they have issues there with they've grown them on in their separate environments and they decide which ones they're going to keep and then they chuck them out into the pond?
100%. This is the big, the
So
biggest. We've been selling fry for 25 years, and people go, "Oh, it's amazing." We buy 100 fry, and 99 live. They're all fine, but it's getting those fish from a separate environment, which is a separate. We always say, don't put them in a cage in your mate. You've got to be a separate environment. You tend to have no problems whatsoever, but at some point you've got to mix those fish with your existing fish. And that is a massive, massive hurdle for those fish. So you've got to discuss with us the best way of doing it. But generally it means taking a fish from your pond and putting them into the environment with the young ones you've grown on, so you can then manage the shitstorm that's about to happen when you put them together. And again, it's easier to do that in a smaller grow-on environment, quarantine tank, whatever you want to call it, that you can heat and treat and do whatever with, than put 100 fry you spent 6 months looking after that are now 10 inches long, all into your main pond, to then go, well, they're all gone to shit, and I can't change the temperature, I can't do anything. So yeah, it is. Whenever you're raising fry, you're raising fish that have got their immune system sees nothing until you mix them with another batch of fish, and that's the big. And again, it depends on if we do it like last year. We did it with a variety that's super strong. And people get away of it. You won't get away of it with the Goshiki and Sanke we're doing this year. Okay.
Right, let's come away from it. Right, you're going to come off the screens now because I'm going to share something that Marcus sent you earlier from Pyro. Right, let's have a look at this.
Sansai Kujaku, New Forest Koi, 65 cm, grown here at Kaizoku Koi.
That's banging, isn't it, mate?
Nice, isn't it?
That is fucking.
Happens, isn't it?
So
environment, mate.
Yeah. Oh, I've lost you.
I'm here.
See,
There's two varieties that I'd say that you're banging at, Rich, and that's the Kujaku and the Shiro.
Cheers, too, Matt. Thanks, mate.
But you have no. Okay, let's rephrase it. That you excel the rest is your Kujakus and Shiros are banging.
Some of them can be. Some of them can be. So I sold 2 showers today, mate, that were mental. Absolutely mental. For the money we sold them for, it was like, oh my God. Little Dainichi ones from, it's just. But that's life, isn't it?
that's what it was. I don't know if I can zoom in. I don't know how to do this. Let me see. No, don't work.
Do you mean get the price in? That's what you.
What was it? How much was it? 95 quid?
I don't know, mate. I can't see it. Doesn't say. I don't know.
You
It
know,
wouldn't have been a lot.
right, already show quite decent quality. But one thing that stands out. Can we see my mouse? Oh, we can see it here. Right.
You can see it on that one.
Look how dark this color is. All right, because quite often Kujaku misunderstood when they're small. Right, the head pattern's there. Actually, I really like that head pattern, mate. To be perfectly honest, I think that's
£150, Rich.
150.
150 quid.
There's no way that you sold that for 150 quid, mate. There's
Not
no
the Marcus. Marcus would have wanted 50% discount.
Right, so let's look at this pattern here, right, on the fish. How condensed it is, how dark it looks, right, and then if I share this video again, right, have a look at what that pattern looks like now.
Sansai Kujaku, New Forest Koi, 65 cm, grown here at Kaizoku Koi.
The Matsubin one, mate, that's what people miss, isn't it? The scale's different different colour to the skin.
Yeah.
So that's when they come alive, when you get that.
You know, and that's the hard thing on Kujaku. You've got to have that forward vision about what that development is. You know, and quite often you may find this, Matt, as well, with because you Hosokai, no doubt you got Kujaku from there. They all look different, and for me, they get so much better when they get bigger, and that pattern starts to really open out, and then you start seeing that honeycomb affair start to happen inside that pattern. Oh.
I went over the top with the Kujakus tonight, Rich.
You got him, mate. When those ones at Hosokai were lovely. You bought a load from Miyatora, I think, and then they were good. The ones at Miyatora were nice, but they went to Hosokai. It's like, you got to buy more, man.
Yeah, but different size, right? Hosokai's fish were fucking ginormous this year, weren't they?
A good size, but yeah, nice fish.
Nice. You know, and right, parent set to that, Rick. What was it?
I think that's the Omasako female cross of red Kujaku male. So they're from potentially from Mark Gardner's ones.
Okay.
I'd have to have a double check. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the red Kujaku we got has got different blood in it. So although it's a Kujaku, it's got a darker base to it.
Sorry, Rich, to interrupt you, but it didn't feel right without McDonald's.
Here it comes. Ronald McDonald's in the house.
That's right, man. Nothing changes, mate. Not in this house. Clockwork.
Rich, are you drinking tonight?
Yeah, I've got a free gift came in.
Well, I was going to say, where did you get them from?
A delivery from a chap called Alan. I've had a few deliveries of beer lately. I think they like me on the beer.
This was a delivery as well from a customer.
Nice.
Nice.
Sansai Kujaku,
Can you hear the sound on that?
New Forest Koi.
I can hear Marcus.
5 cm. Grown here at Kaizoku.
I'm going to try and mute it while it's on screen.
Sansai Kujaku. New Forest Koi. 65 cm. Grown here at Kaizoku Koi.
You can't silence him.
And that's what I was just trying to do. I'm sure there's a way.
The Kujaku's a funny beast, mate. They're different from all the different. We've got Kujaku parents from about 6 different farms, and the offspring are so different. To get the right balance is a nightmare. And I think this year the best ones we got are from a kin show across.
Got any pictures?
The ones our grown show this year was a Deutsch kin shower female, and then the Wagway Kujaku are brilliant.
Got anything that I can share though?
Oh, I don't know, mate.
You can send it either on WhatsApp or Messenger to me, mate. I know how to do it all, except share a picture online that don't zoom in.
But yeah, that's part of our battle. It's not just the best fish. It's getting the right parent combinations. It's a nightmare. Come back to me.
We'll come back to you, mate. Rob says that Rick has some cracking Kujaku. Mark Giles likes that. Well, to be fair, mate, when I seen it, I was like, whoa. That is fucking top quality fish, man. Right, I noticed Andy Day said something. As hobbyists, try to stick to 3 or 4 dealers that I trust only. I still think that 3 or 4 dealers is too many, personally. You really should stick to 2, no more than 2, in my opinion. That way, you're really reducing the issues that you can potentially be adding to your pond.
Well, unless it's 3 good-looking chaps that like going on YouTube on a Thursday night, then all 3 of them are good.
Something like that. I think at the end of the day, you need to find, it's not just how many dealers. At the end of the day, if you can find one dealer, what you're after, be it high-end Goshiki or whatever, or cheaper mixes of pretty fish. Everyone's different, aren't they?
Right, I'm going to download. Marcus has just sent me that again, but he's done it in HD quality. So right. I'm going to download it again and then upload it onto here. Check me out. Fucking go on, son.
Yeah.
No, I don't know which one it is on there. 52 and 16. 16. So I'll be able to see it in better quality, which is good. Because for me, Kujaku, 2 years ago, was so hard to get. And then they seem to be booming the last couple of years. They're a good sale as well when they look good. Yeah, quick.
Yeah, to be fair, I think this year, the Asagi we've done are up there. 150 quid he paid for it. Look, is that what we're saying? Jesus, yeah, the Gimrin Crashigoi we're doing, mate. They're mental as well. They're some seriously good-looking fish.
Right, now I've got an issue on here because I don't know which one's which. Let's have a look. There you go, Rick. Is that HD or is that one?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's better quality. Man, look at that honeycombing, man. I love that.
I'm sure Mark Gardner's video, he did some videos of our Kujakus about 5 years ago now.
Big head, big mouth. Mate, insanely good. You should be proud of that work, mate.
I am. I love Kujakus. They're some of the best, aren't they?
Yeah, me too. That's what got me into the koi hobby, mate. Kujaku.
So I think your two little toes are over now that are both got Kinshower, Deutz Kinshower female parent.
Ooh. I ain't sharing them, mate.
You ain't sharing. I get fucking off the sale. Get your hands off. They're proper jobs, aren't they?
Yeah, good. On my other screen, they look redder.
They look even better, yeah. But that's the screen definition. But that dark in the benny through the body is what gives you that nice. When the scales come through, that's what you want, mate.
And that's the bit that people like. You can see it down that row, especially. Look at that. Starting to work its magic already.
But that gives you the Matsuban one in the red. That one looks a bit tidier there. But yeah, they're for whatever they are, 10 months old at that time. They're banging.
They got good bodies as well, mate.
Yeah, they'll grow all right.
Definitely grow well. I think the second one's better than that one. That one's body-wise, that looks better. I don't know, maybe the photo.
A lot of it is, yeah. It's perhaps not fair, but the other one darker in the benny, but
head patterns are good as well. When you start, I like that head pattern. That's good. I like the unusual like that. It's quite nice. It stayed out the eye as well, which is. I know it's not a big thing, but that sets it off. If that had a red eye, I think it'd look a little different. But,
should be on Kujaku appreciation. Matt, some of the one Matt got from Hozukai were beautiful as well. If I didn't have so many, I'd have been buying some of them.
I got some bangers from Hozukai this year. Yeah.
Ryan put one on last week, didn't on Gaz's as well.
But,
yeah, beautiful fish. Really, really good.
Was that the 18 centimetre going on 27?
Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly not 18 cm.
But quality fit. It's still toes are still quality. I remember when we were out there, we were picking them all. Absolutely beautiful fish.
Well, they are. They really. You ain't had much drink tonight. I'm a bit disappointed in you, Rick.
I'm going to go and get some now. I've had a couple. All right. I'm having to mix that. Knock off San Miguel. San Marco.
Now you're eating crafty. I want to eat as well.
Get some food done, Sam.
What's the next topic, boys?
Everyone's left me, look.
That was a really good question that was put on YouTube. Just
right. While I'm going to go for a toilet, but while we have this quick admin break, all right, auctions are back on Tuesday. Here's a little 2-minute video.
God, what was that, eh? Ad break.
Mate, you had to go and get a beer. Matt said he's going to get some food, and I was bursting for a wee.
I think we should have ad breaks in them now. Right, we get on to gas. We need ad breaks.
That was a good idea, wasn't it? But
Vince just puts up. We're doing Vince's Pond Monday. I'm going to try and film that. So Vince and Rocket Boy got to pick 5 fish each out of their pond to take home. So that should be quite a good one. Everyone can take the piss out of them for picking the wrong fish.
Top Chagger, I don't know the answer to the question, but it's a good question. I don't know if Frank's washing. If you are, Frank, can you forward me over the info? But I will find out for you, pal. I know that it says on the packet not to use it at the same time as treatment. So I dare say you're probably looking 24 hours before any treatment goes in for it to do its business. But let me find out from the man himself, and I'll come back to you, Top Chagger. All right, mate. If you can drop me a message on my Facebook or whatever, mate, then I'll respond directly to you, pal. So, right, any other questions in the chat? Mark says, thanks for sourcing the Garoma. You're welcome, mate. You got an absolute banger as well.
There's some good Garomos appearing, isn't there?
Yeah, there was this year. It was really, really heavy for Garomo this year.
New thing. I'm loving them. Some of them.
We got some genuine ones for Vince, didn't we?
For Vince. We didn't get them for fucking Vince. I've got one he can have now. Pattern fell off.
I got loads of them.
Mixed Koi Pond said he come down to perfect. Oh, thank you very much, mate. Oh, growing show. That's something I haven't brought up, isn't it? That's coming up. Watch out. There'll be a video drop next week for that. So have a look in on that. Matt, you haven't bought your ticket yet, you tightwad.
I haven't been invited.
He didn't. He didn't have to invite. I had to buy it last time. Fucking. The good thing about buying Matt's ticket, I've still got the
I
fish.
bought it last time.
Back off. I
You
bought
got
it.
his fish as well, didn't you? You still got them.
Yeah, I bought it and I haven't even seen it.
Out of order, mate. Right, Jeremy Burr. It seems we now need a professional koi body to protect everybody's interests. I don't think so. There was a professional koi body of dealers that really just didn't work, and understandably, or not dependent. But it's such a dog eat dog world in the koi industry that, you know, people are always battling for customers, and like they all strive to sell the best fish. That the question is this: for a professional trade body, who actually looks after it? You know, you've got to have somebody that overlooks what the standard is, and everyone has to buy into the standard, and then it has to be policed. You know, who actually does that? That's the problem that we find ourselves, because if there was one, I'd definitely be part of it. You know, and people have said to me in the past, why don't you get it going? Because I'm friendly with most dealers that I know. You know, and actually it's only recently, I think, that dealers have shown that they can all sit together and talk together and work together. Right, and there's 3 out of 5 or 6 of us sat in this room right now. But ultimately, it's a bit of a dog eat dog world out there, and not everybody agrees with different methods, and you know, how to keep fish and how to price fish, and you know, it's like, where does it start, where does it end, how does it get policed, who puts the policies in place, etc. I mean, Rick, was you ever part of that professional body when it was put together?
No. Well, no. Yeah. In an advice. Yeah. No, not as such. Because I'm not being funny. I reckon now is probably the best the industry's ever been. In
Really?
32 years I've been doing it. It has got better and better and more. The fact that got social media and it's traceability.
I was going to say,
You buy a bunch of shit fish from someone now, if there truly is a problem with fish, you ain't going to stay with the dealer very long. You know, the reality is, you put something out there. Everyone has got the opportunity now
to be a reporter. Yeah,
whatever. It's the understanding of how to look after the fish is better, but the responsibility of dealers is so much better. You know, and it's from the professional koi dealers association or whatever to Ogata or whatever. There's been different things over the years that have tried to regulate ornamental fish, dealerships. I think to be honest, social media is regulating itself. It's had to become transparent because everyone knows where everyone's buying fish from. If suddenly you've got a bunch of fish that aren't available in Japan or is wherever, you know, and they're super cheap, you're probably taking them from somewhere a bit, you know, without the history. It's all a bit dodgy, isn't it? I don't think the ornamental. 20 years ago, you could buy fish from Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Portugal, Italy, South Africa, America, England, and it was unbelievable where koi were coming from into this country, and a lot of that is basically stopped because of demand. People don't want to buy. Okay, the fish might be cheap, but the problems that came with them, stop buying them. Stop. If people don't buy them, they don't come in. If you, at the end of the day, if you've got a source of fish from Japan, Poland, Israel, and the UK that source all your needs or whatever, that have got traceability, that have got dealers that are out there saying this is what we're buying, this is where they come from. I don't get why you need to buy fish from everywhere. You don't.
I agree with you. You don't. You really don't.
I think it is so much better than it used to be. Yeah, fish were just coming in from anywhere and everywhere, and all the problems, you know, that came from the fish that come from China used to come in with problems with tapeworm and stuff. The fish that used to come in from Singapore had back to, you know, there were so many fish coming from so many places that had their own issues that before you knew it, it was just a hodgepodge of.
Fancy goldfish are a pain in the ass when they come in. They come with all fucking sorts, man.
I think at the end of the day, if it's that traceability knowledge, this day and age, there is no need for it. You know, there's fish of different price brackets coming from farms that are doing everything they can to be certifiable, clean, healthy. You know, you can get. There's no need for it. I just don't get the point of importing koi from 27 different countries.
Yeah.
And from 27 countries, you can turn that into 270 farms.
You know,
it's mental.
And it's what they put them through their end before they bring them over. You know, it's just completely different everywhere you go, which for me is like red flag time, big time. You know,
I think we don't need a professional body. We just need everyone needs to be accountable for what they do.
Accountable, correct. I agree. Totally agree with that. You know, and most people are, though. To be fair,
I think it's so much better. It's so much better than it used to be. Because at the end of the day, if you want to do a video, I'm in Japan buying fish, or I'm over there buying fish. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Here's these fish I've imported. If they then cause a massive problem, it's there and it's recorded, isn't it? It's all
relative.
It's all relative. But honestly, when we had to start getting registered with DEFRA probably 15 years ago, so we're governed by a different body to the pet shops and the dealers and whatever. We're a government body comes to us as a fish farm. We're under different regulations. So now we're under double regulations to everyone else because we're under that umbrella and we're under this umbrella that have now, they don't cover the same thing, but because we've got a shop and a farm, we've got applied to both. And Yeah, it's kind of how it should be. But they're like, oh, well, we got no regulation of what comes in. We just got to check you for this, that. And it's like, well, why do we have to adhere to this, and this when I can go and buy a fish from Heathrow or from wherever and I don't have to adhere to any of those things? There's no restrictions, no nothing. It's just it's kind of nonsense. I get why they have to do it.
If you was in Australia, mate, you know, they're so strict on what comes in. You know, we're literally open borders.
Well, yeah, because of our trade agreements. But what cracked me up was trade. So a normal carp you couldn't import into this country without paperwork.
Yeah.
An ornamental carp you could import from anywhere on the planet with no paperwork.
Yeah, because it's ornamental. Yeah.
But
it's still a carp. And in fact, being ornamental makes it even more a pain in the arse.
But it's all come full circle in it now. So the whole point is, I'd like to believe, social media has made it so much more transparent that it's got to be good, isn't it? You're accountable for what you do, and if you're good, I can't see that.
Have you had any fish to his Welsh dragon fry shipment?
You can to the shipment, but they'll be in a separate box, and don't put them in the same vat or whatever. Yeah,
that's quite interesting. We have a new koi farm opening Blairgowrie, Scotland. We'll keep you guys posted. Koi farm, is it? Okay.
Why not? If they're in the day, it's temperature. It's a problem, isn't it? I'd quite like a new koi farm down in the south of France.
God, that'd be quality, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Grow and show for those people that took part in the NND Grow and Show for last year. I did announce on Tuesday that I want those videos and photos start coming in. Can you send it to Crafty Koi's Facebook page messenger service so I can keep them separate? I don't know if people have seen, but I have millions of, well, not millions, that's a bit over exaggerated, but I have hundreds of text messages daily on loads of WhatsApp and Messenger, and I want to keep that completely separate. So I've had one lot, well, I've had a couple in, but one lot I particularly want to share is one that's on here. What's the best way of doing it? Let's do it this way, and then, yep. So, little bit of backstory. So last year, met up with Makoto at NND, bought a shit ton of NND Shiro Sori, which is an Omasako bloodline. Parent sets are fucking humongous, basically. I think it's in 5th generation now, i.e. 5 years in. And one thing that I wanted to do was Shiro, because people don't understand Shiro quite, you know, they either see them finished or not. So what it's quite nice is that some of these fish, they varied in sumi, the amount of sumi, how the sumi sat, sizes, etc. Yellow heads, white heads. So part of the grow and show was best growth heated, best growth non-heated, and best quality that is judged by Umo Fujio-san in Japan, and also Alan Tate has also agreed to do a UK judge one as well. So I want to share this. So this is from one of the customers. I ain't going to say his name because I don't know, but it's probably going to be on screen. But it's Paul Prentice.
I don't know his name, but it's Paul Prentice.
Yeah, it's going to be on the screen, mate. So I ain't going to be able to get away with it. So that is when he bought it, around 20 cm. When we started the grow and show, which was, I think it was the end of April last year from memory. And he has basically documented the growth throughout the year. And I've had various updates throughout the year from this guy. Now, this fish has been a complete pain in his backside, where it wouldn't integrate into his main pond. So he had to take it out and put it into a smaller pond with some smaller fish, which it's been a complete bully. But it's the canary of the pond, so it will really pink up when water quality starts changing or he starts to get an issue in a pond. But overall, it's finished around 43 to 44 cm. Absolute beast of a fish. As you can see, just the changes there. Body has started to come, and then it's thinned out. So it obviously bodies up first and then stretches itself. We sent loads in. As you can see there, got fatter, then got longer, got fatter, then got longer. But I haven't looked through all of these, but one thing that we'll look back on is the Sumi development on it. But when you see it in the video towards the end, it's absolutely mental. Let's have a look at this one. Already starting to take a good body shape as well.
It's mental, isn't it? It's changed sex about 3 times.
Yeah, it's done it. It does look like that. So back in the day, very heavy on Sumi at top. More, you can see how that's receded back under the skin. So it'd be interesting to see where that fish goes further down the line. So 30th of April, there you go. In the year 204 BC, you know, because you missed the 2 out. And then 30th of May, just 1 month apart. You can see how it bodied up. Still quite pinky though. If it was to look like that when you first bought it, you know, you'd probably steer clear of it, wouldn't you, to be fair? But then you see starting to get better and better. 35 cm. Sumi has really, really receded. The Motoguru in the fin has also pretty much receded away as well. And this is what it's looking like at the moment. 44 cm. Sumi's just starting to come back and come back heavy. A lot more in the head. A bit more starting to appear in the rear of the fish. So again, you know, what a difference a year makes and how different that fish looks from start. Cursor's moved to finish. You know,
Not finished yet. A month.
Yeah, one about like to where it. Yeah, he needs to keep it going until like as long as he can, to be perfectly honest. But and keep documenting it. This is the fish now.
You know, it's got potential to become good, isn't it?
A really nice pattern, actually. If that when that comes, if that comes, which it should.
It will.
Looking at the parent set, it should come. Motoguru is back in the fin as well, and he has been heated, obviously. But yeah, he had nightmares trying to get it into his heated pond, his main one. But that's one fish that you're up against. So how do you reckon you'll fare, Rick?
I don't know. They're not as big because I've not been heated, have I? They've been in polytunnels.
Are you heated or not?
No. Well, this is the
Are
thing.
you
No,
not?
I'm not, but they're in polytunnels, so I'm just like a southerner.
What do you mean, like a southerner? You are a southerner, mate.
So I had 3 of them, didn't I? So I bought a female. So from all the fish, I picked the most female of the lot, which is female, full of eggs already. I picked the most, for Matt, I picked the most male, which is male. And for Andy, I picked the best that I thought was the best either or. That is the best. Without a shadow of a doubt, that's the best fish. The female's female, the male's male, and the other one's the best.
I've got pictures of them when you sent them recently.
I've got photos. I think I've got photos of a couple of them. They've not grown massive, but
Marcus has got one that's
been used.
almost nearly 50 centimeters.
Eh?
Marcus has got one that's ginormous. It's almost.
Yeah, he's proper heated, isn't he? That's the difference.
But the sumi on it is non-existent.
A bit of heat.
Wow. Watch this space then.
So, are you spawning from them, Rich?
I want to do a little spawning from them directly, brother, sister. Don't do it. Shouldn't do it. But yeah, I'm going to do it.
Oh,
yeah.
Just because I've got them, and at the end of the day, when you look at the parent set, the original parent set, they're so much better than, I don't think the offspring are anywhere near it, but from my experience, the grandparents are a better reflector of what you're trying to achieve.
This week is sounding better and better and better, because now that means I got 2 fish that are out to stud.
Mate, you got all sorts. But you hear Syria coming back, mate. You can have to.
So it is the fish you've had off me, Rick. If I can do it again. Too many button clicks. That needs to be shortened. They're looking well.
Yeah, so that's 2 of them. That's the man. That's not the most female one, but yeah, that's the best pair. But that is a male and female.
Wait, that Kiyotsuri looks good.
That's done it.
Cheers, Crafty. Had your eyes out there, mate. It's like rubbing salt in the wound, mate, the amount of money you paid for them.
I think there's a photo coming of the best one. It's about 92 cm now, I think.
92 cm, you're doing well.
How you can say that without freaking smiling?
But it's got yeah.
Mate, that skin is awesome.
Trying it.
That Shiroji is top, mate. Good sashi on that sumi coming through.
Yeah. I'm not sure that was a little while back, so I'm going to bang some.
Good sash, mate. That's a banger, mate. That is a banger.
There you go. But that's female. That's full of eggs, so that'll be spawned second round, mid-May. Just as a little, it's only seen little, so it'll only be a little spawning. There's a little trial, but yeah.
You fucking kill me, man.
All right with it. He'll be spawned as well. Give him a chance.
I get sad.
Why?
When you're getting this, you're getting it when you come up for the event, aren't you?
Not that one. It's not that one, mate. You keep doing that. It's the one that was back 2 before.
That one.
Don't tell me it's that one.
They're all sold anyway. Fucking right. I'm going to stop sharing that because I'll get upset.
All right.
My main pond's going to be near.
I come up to collect my next winner. That the Momotaro Kahaki is looking really good from the one before.
Is it really? What from the mate? I need to see pictures. I really like to see. I really do like to see who's putting that.
Like a brick shit house, mate.
Dave State says that's special. If that head pattern comes up on that Shiro of Rick's, I don't know. Let's bring it back up. Let's have a look. Well, I hope it does. To be perfectly honest.
Well, yeah, it's on its way. I'll put some special food. It'll be up for the next photo.
Mate, with special food, you get Lee down to tattoo it. Oh, that'd come. That'd definitely come. The thing is, if you have a look at on NND's Facebook page, they often do development pictures of some of their koi that they show, and you're looking like 3 to 4 years down the line before the head really starts to come on some of their fish. So, you know, it's all about time. And when you look back at what it was when you got it, Rick, it don't look nothing like that now, or like what it did, really, does it?
No, my problem at the minute is because it's not been that warm. I've been feeding quite heavy, so the body's grown a lot.
Yeah.
And now the head looks quite small. There it looks really nice, but now the body's much bigger than the head. But that's because it's female. She's egged up, and the temperature it's been at, which isn't that hot. It's just they do that. It's just how it is. It will look better this autumn. But
mate, you mentioned the fucking word, didn't you?
Well done. Special food.
Wonder.
Loads of special food. I'm going to do a whole thing on it, mate. I'm just mad, isn't it? Cheap food. Not cheap food.
Well, actually, not as expensive food as other people.
Not as expensive, yeah. You can get a McDonald's burger for 99p. You go to the pub and pay 17 quid.
Is it that?
It's not Coppens, mate. I know they do get Coppens because that's what we use on the farm. But yeah, at the minute I'm balancing up all sorts of foods.
Don't share what you're doing yet.
All right, I won't.
I've got an idea. So.
Most
Right,
of
questions.
the-
Come on, fire in some questions, you bunch of boring.
Yeah. Must be the odd question somewhere. Yeah, so I want to do a brother-sister spawning of that lot because that NND female is pretty insane, isn't it? I know you said 5th generation, but it's not. It's 5th year. 5th generation will be...
Sorry, I meant 5th year. Yeah.
But, yeah, she's pretty immense. Have you got a picture of the original female?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it now.
And when I went out there, the fish, the 2 and 3 year old shearers there were mega. So yeah,
Marco, you
It's
can't.
Marco. He's gagging to come on, Crafty. He just said he wanted to come on for 5 minutes, say hello to everybody.
he can't let him have a burger.
Mate, look. Right, so this is what Marco's just sent me.
Oh, cool. So that bowl full he's grown on. It's all right. Some good fish amongst them.
Well, I do. I mean, I don't know where they're from.
They're probably all the same bloody age as well.
Yeah, I would say so. All in there. That shows different sizes, doesn't it?
He does quite a lot of growing on fish, Marco, doesn't he? Sell it as a fancy goldfish.
So Daz has said, I got one fish looks like a pine cone. What can I do, or do I just sedate it? Can't find anything on scrapes.
Mate, if you've got somewhere separate to put it, you can try banging it in quite a strong salt, 0.6, 0.7%. But in reality, yeah, it's probably a goner.
It's very difficult to bring a fish that's got dropsy or severe dropsy back, to be perfectly honest. People say feed it pea skins and shit like that.
Just know if it's that bad, its kidneys are struggling. it's retaining way too much water. Or, yeah, but yeah, a strong salt. Yeah, 0.7 might help it, but
getting it back though is going to be an uphill battle. To be perfectly
yeah,
honest.
so at the end of the day, if you've got somewhere you can do it, it's worth doing. It's worth having a go. It's a learning curve, isn't it? But the reality is, for a fish to get, if the whole fish is gone that bad that all the scales are sticking out, the eyes are gone googly, it's got so much water retention, his kidneys aren't working. So,
yeah, it just gets worse and worse. So, but saying that, I've got a Deutsch Karashigoi in my little holding pond, my QT pond, and I thought that started to pick up dropsy, and it just ended up being a fat bastard. It eats so much that it would just bloat itself stupid, just so greedy. You know, it's you know,
that's what I'd say. But like,
a bit like its owner. I know what you're saying, mate. I do like a burger, but
yeah, but you get mirror carp in fishing lakes and stuff that just eat and eat and eat and eat.
Yeah.
They're like Labradors, aren't they? But if you imagine, like my dogs, right? If you just give them unlimited food, imagine how much they'd eat. They just wouldn't stop, would they?
no.
Yeah. They reckon it's a gene, isn't it? Apparently, there's a gene in humans and Labradors that are the same.
Genes, because my dogs have got food down all the time, and they take it when they want to take it.
Yeah, but you got little spaniels and stuff. Get a big fat chocolate lab and see what happens when you leave food down.
Yeah. What would you recommend as a Kaku? Picking up something Rick said last week. Dave has ridiculously hard water. What fish would Rick recommend as Kahaku last about a month in his pond?
What, last to live or last to go to shit?
Yeah.
If you got super hard water and you can't store rainwater or do something about it, then you go for Sumi varieties. You go for Shiratsuri. You go for those kind of showers. You go for stuff that Matsukawabaki, Komomri. You go for the varieties that will thrive and reward you in that water.
I don't expect just because Sumi's good in it that it's going to come.
No, but at the end of the day, it's if you there's no point spending decent money on a good Kahaku to ruin it. If your water, if you can't. So I was chatting with Aaron the other day about it, and that's at the end of the day, he's going to about RO water. It comes out of the sky for you, man. Store some rainwater. Use rainwater for your top ups. Before long, you'll be dropping it's one of those. If you've got decent size house where you can collect rainwater, if you've got garage and shed, there's ways around it. But if you can't, you don't fight it. Just go with varieties that will do all right in it.
Or get a borehole.
Get a borehole. But your water's probably quite hard coming out of borehole, mate. Well, yours isn't because you've used it all. Because the whole community's on drought alert.
What's your water like where you are, mate? Is it soft?
If you're coming from the tap, it's really, really hard. But literally, mine's the borehole. So my pH is about 7.8. KH is about 10. It just, everything is perfect with it. And like Rich said loads of times, I'll just pour in, pour out. If it wasn't for the heating side of it at the moment, I would do, because it's just absolutely perfect.
Except for the whole of Dorset have run out of water.
But it happened here because it's all going out and it's soaking back down through the ground, doing its job, and then coming back out the borehole.
Have you used a lot of water, Matt?
Ah, mate, yeah. So every tank's 10 to 15% every morning, every night, every single day. That's all I'm doing.
Here's a good question. I'm going to try and find it. Where's it gone? Yeah, then Matt, one for you. What do you think of the new Goshiki / Sanke?
I don't like it.
You're such
I don't
a.
like it.
How can you not like it? It's a fucking.
I just don't like it. It's not. It's one of those fish. Some people like some fish, some people don't, and I don't like that particular fish. But that is my own choice. Just
Right.
I mean, and in fact, good ones would be all right. But at the end of the day, you spend all your life as a breeder or someone that looks after fish to produce nice floating benny on that sort of reticulated background. Then you put big black splodges on it, and you go, "That's exactly what I'm trying to avoid."
But is it any different to any other fish in the sense of if it had been around for 20 years?
Well, they have been. They've been doing it donkey's years. Goshiki Shower, Goshiki Sanke. There are all sorts of crosses. And they are not. They're good examples. You get a night. The benny's perhaps more vibrant than you might get on a Sanke. That back there is, yeah, but they do just look a bit of a mess to me. But good ones.
But it's so like the yellow monkeys. It's only today that we're really talking about it. How long have they been around for?
Well, Marihiro's been doing it for donkey's years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, yeah.
Exactly with the dragons. How many have you got over there?
The best ones the best Deutschkin Matsuwas we ever did probably 20 years ago. We had thousands of them, amazing ones. And they all went off to a Japanese wholesaler. Done. End of story. We couldn't repeat them. We have done them since, but not to the same level. But good examples of anything are good. Those yellow dragons from Arago, from Aoki, good ones are amazing. But there's just a name for a fish, isn't it? You know, yellow monkey's a name for a Gimrin Crashikoi, and now he's got brown monkeys that are
brown and orange ones. So my one that came in as a yellow monkey, or the two of them, perfect, looked identical, male and female, spot on. Rich, what did one of them turn out like? Because you keep taking the mick out of it every day, or everything we talk to you about it.
Is it just a chat? Is it brown? Is it just a Chagoi, isn't it? It's just
but now it's got a brown monkey title to it.
Yeah, it might have, but it's still Chagoi. It's one of them.
Then. So new Goshiki cross Sanke, not new. They're extremely difficult to get good. That's the problem with them.
That is the problem, isn't it?
Like what Rick was saying, to get the splodges of black, in Rick's words, not mine. Technical, the sumi and the benny in the right places. So they actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Complement
each other. Yeah,
is really difficult. But I'm quite lucky because I got last year. I bought this. Is it going to come up? So this is Nisai 43 cm. So when I show you the next video, when it's time to bring it up, I want you to have a look at the development. The main thing was it was different, but just the size of the head and the mouth on that fish is what actually like sort of drawn me in to buy it. And after 1 year growing, this is what it turned into. So look how much it's darkened up, broadened up. Sumi style. It looks better than that now, even more. It's darkened up even more at work. But it's a fantastic fish. And it was an entry into the All Japan Koi show as well. But
my issues with them, right? So if you could take away those random black bits, that would be a fucking mental goshki that's going to grow massive and looks amazing.
Yeah.
But those sort of extra sumi bits
Make it look dirty.
It doesn't make it look dirty. I think if it's one of those.
I think it's a Marmite variety, isn't it? Like, like some are. But, it's different.
I can't even read a decent Kujaku, mate. Let alone put an underlaying background and fucking sumi on top. Fucking hell.
No. And to get it right, though, I mean, to get to what it is now, which is 65 cm, I think it was, which is what you're seeing on screen now. It's just next level. It's a belting fish.
The floating benny, the body, the background, the reticulation, everything about that fish, right, is amazing. The added bit of sumi to me, it doesn't
do it for you.
It doesn't help. It doesn't make it better. It could do if it gets thick enough and enough of it. Yes, it perhaps could, but I don't know, it's almost as the background's got darker. I don't know, but you can't take away the quality of it. Is superb, but that's just that added element of pattern in it. It's like putting Gimrin on a Matsuba or something that actually, for some people, takes away. Or Deutsch Kujakus. I don't really like Deutsch Kujakus. That the whole thing about a Kujaku works with that Wagoi scalation, but when you make it Deutsch, it actually kind of don't work so well. Just certain things, and it might work better when it's big. It might not. It might work. Yeah.
Well, I wonder at the breeding and selecting how old those fish have actually got to be before they can recognise that they are going to be Goshiki Sanke.
Well, talking back in Japan to Yamaguchi, I was talking about this variety actually. He says that generally the black in the fish, when they first spawn out and you go through your culling, it looks really, really good. He said, but within a matter of days, the sumi can get that thick in it that you literally cull the fucking lot because they're that difficult to get right. And that includes just goshki. Yamas has also tried to do a goshki spawning, and he said they look really good for 3 months, and then all of a sudden they just fucking fell to pieces. A really good goshki on its own is difficult, but then putting the Sanke bloodline in there just adds to it. I dare. What I'd be really interested in is how different the color looks as it gets bigger, like how deep the sumi actually does go, because a lot of people fall into the trap, in my opinion, on goshki, where they prefer them to be too dark. Well, actually, a goshki traditional is a grey fish with robing, and if this fish stays how it is, and the sumi, like the Sanke sumi, starts to really pop through, I think it will look completely different. It's just whether or not it can hold back on that sumi in the goshki darkening up the rest of the skin, because goshki, believe it or not, were bred to become blacker because they sold better. Well, actually, a traditional goshki is by far more attractive, and it holds its quality a lot longer as well. So,
tell Aoki that.
Well, totally. I know, I agree with you, mate. But they've actually bred it into the fish because they become more sellable.
But that's what everyone does, isn't it? At the end of the day, if you can use seriously dark goshki parents to produce almost black and red fish that sell really well as a year-old fish, 2-year-old fish, and you can sell your fish for top dollar, done, isn't it? Why would you?
Absolutely, yeah, totally agree. But if you're going down the Americans, Japanese are very traditionalists, aren't they? So for me, I prefer a very traditional style goshiki, like the one that you got, Rick. You know, where it's got all the robing in there. I prefer to see the robing than a jet black fish with a fucking red slab over the top of it. That's me personally. I think that the fish is a lot more attractive to the eye when you see the development and you get just a robing on a nice grey background with, even if the robing goes through the benny plate. You know, trying to keep a floating benny pattern in the UK is next to fucking impossible anyway. And for me, that's where goshis start going downhill, when they're too black and the robing goes through, because for me, that's when that fish gets too messy. That's my personal opinion. With this, I think the Sanke bloodline in it is what gives it the ability to get so big so quick. You know, because goshiki don't get big. They're not renowned for getting like jumbo sort of size.
They don't want to fucking eat, do they? They're a nightmare.
Yes, you know, but that's the thing, isn't it? You know, by being able to bring those bloodlines together to create something that gets big, if it does hold the quality, if it does hold the traditional sort of goshiki line, with that sumi developing better as it gets bigger, for me, I think, yeah. Mark asked a question somewhere. How stable do you think it's going to be long term? Mate, I think it's going to be a stable fish. Looking at it, I don't think it's going to go much further than what it already has. Looking at how dark its head's got, I can't imagine it's going to go much further than that. For me, it's what's going to happen with the sumi. It's still sumi that is showing under the skin, and whether or not that comes. This didn't place in the All Japan Koi show that it went to last year. However, its sister did, and that got put on the front cover of Rinko magazine, and he showed it again this year, but it didn't go anywhere this year. And he actually said if this fish had gone in, he thinks it would have been better than the one that had already been entered, right? But the change was so drastic that he didn't get a chance to even say, I want to put this in. It happened so fast. So, you know, it's a rare fish. And if you like different, it's there. You know, for me, koi appreciation is koi appreciation. You either like it or you don't, you know. But for me, I think it's an interesting variety. And I'll keep looking over there because the fish is up. But
interesting is good, though, isn't it? At the end of the day, if you're interested and you go out every day to look at it, to see actually the robin's back down now and the sumi's come up, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? There's no doubt and there's massive quality in it, but it's just.
I mean, you can see on the young fish where the stronger sumi spots sit. And when you see it on the bit, look at the darkness on the nose to what it looks like on the newer, or sort of the bigger, or the most up-to-date one. Why can't I just stop that? Oh, I could have just pushed that. That's something new for me. I don't have to go through this rigmarole every time.
Dude, should I forget by next week?
No, wait, I'm quite good at remembering. You can see how the head's already darkened up from what it was when I first bought it. And the sumi's receded somewhat in the tail, but it's just starting to break through again. So it's going to be interesting to see what it actually does. But stable-wise, Mark, yeah, it's going to be stable fish, mate. Kib is one of the only breeders that really sort of throws his hat at this. So,
but fair play, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. And it's like someone saying, I'm going to breed giant Kujakus. I'm Krashigoi Kujaku mix. Mark was following something along those lines. It was maybe Konishi doing it. And they were growing some monster Kujakus from his Krashigoi line. But I've not heard nothing since for a couple of years. But they were, you know, something looking immense. But
I hold the quality.
The information disappears, doesn't it?
holding their quality.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's the thing. That's what you get into. I mean, there are some tozai knocking about. It'd be interesting to see what people do with the tozai in their own ponds. It's like the water over here is definitely different to down south where Kibby is. So it'd be interesting to see what the environment does to the conditioning of the fish, I suppose. But from what I've seen already, it's a fucking pig. Fucking pig, man. Yeah, it didn't take long to integrate and come up and start eating everything. That's a sure fact.
But that's different from Goshiki behaviour anyway, isn't it? Generally.
Yes.
Yeah. Original Goshiki has
Robing in the Benny.
Yeah, but everyone likes floating Benny, so that got bred out of most of it, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it did. Yeah, totally true.
If you saw an old Goshiki, you go, what a messy fucking thing that is, isn't it? But yeah, who knows? Are we done? We're nearly done. We've gone quite well.
I'm about to say it's 3 hours. It's actually gone fairly quick. 10:30. So
we spent most of it eating.
Most, mate. I was just having little nibbly bites. I weren't like having a proper meal.
How many burgers do you have? 3?
2 burgers and a large fries and a small Coke to wash it down.
Nice. I got an egg custard tart.
Is that all you had?
No, that's my pudding in a minute.
I don't know if I'd like that. Egg custard.
They're just like tarts, aren't they?
We never. Surely you must have had one of them.
No, egg and custard don't sound good.
Well, egg is custard.
But egg custard don't sound good, does it? Custard sounds
I know. That's how I tried to say.
Egg in front of it. It's like a Goshiki Sanke, and it seems like it don't go. I don't know.
Anyway, why are we not looking at these Kujaku anyway?
Which Kujaku are you on about?
Yamaguchi ones you're going to show us for the grand show. We've got 4 minutes left before 3 hours. Let's fill it up.
No, I'm gonna do a separate video on the ones that we've got that are part of it. But let me find it.
So Matt's having a big open day on Easter, are you, Matt?
No, Maybank holiday.
Everyone, Maybank holiday.
Strawberries and cream.
Have you booked the band yet?
I'm still trying to get her.
Right. So if anybody knows any country western bands that would like to go to Owies for the day on his open day for the new season, get in touch with him. Because he's into his shit kicking music. So
I've got a techno DJ that can come.
When I said to one certain lady, I'm looking forward to it, to see the short skirts and the long boots and the hats. Lorraine said, "Oh, I'd love to." So, did I just say Lorraine?
Oh dear. She's doing the
She's
singing.
into a country and western.
All right. But she's not doing the singing. I'll do the singing if you like. I'm pretty good at it. I'll get on stage, no bother.
We'd have to
When
do
you've had a few beers, you're anyone's, Rick, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Can't go wrong, can you? You probably can, but it'll be all right. I could do Dolly Parton. Working 9 to 5. Is that one?
That's not one of the Grant Show ones. That's another one. Oh, fuck this up now, haven't I?
He looks really short on the nose.
That's a 50 cm fish.
Yeah.
I've got to do it that way.
Blown it now.
Exit full screen. Yeah, that's threw me somewhat. That close
Need
the
some
window.
more work at this crafty, mate. Gaz wouldn't have these problems. It'd be like background music, fish on there.
He wouldn't, mate.
Text floating by.
He wouldn't.
Gaz is a professional. Crafty's not.
This would all be pre-uploaded. See,
Bring back the GKP. I say this is terrible.
Even the host eating during the show, disgusting behaviour.
Mate, disgusting that I'm giving my free time up.
I know.
That's right. We can do it this way.
So we're doing karaoke at yours, Matt, on the, what's it, 1st of May?
Yeah. May Bank holiday. I haven't decided which one, but it will be one of the May Bank holidays. Vince has got to get hold of me. He's got a problem with communication at the moment.
Is he? Why? He's been texting me, all right? Must be your phone.
Oh, actually, thinking about it, I got a feeling he might have done anyway, because I was on that group and they were messaging good morning at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, shut that down.
Yeah, so I shut it down, but I haven't been on it for bloody ages to see. I know, yeah.
So how many of these Tomahawk ones you got? 4 or 5?
5. 5 of
Five.
each. There is, but one.
See.
Oh, what did I do there? That's the parent anyway. Let's put that on so you can get to see it.
That is sweet, isn't it?
Fucking beast, isn't it?
That is sweet. Oh.
So a
One
bit
of
of
them.
eye porn again. This is in his fish house. Like, it's like the first. His fish house is built really like so. Where you view the fish is actually on the first floor of the house, and the ponds literally go all the way down to the ground floor. So it's got like a whole room full of fucking water that you look down into. But so let's go on that one. 1, 2, 3. Look at the fins on that one.
I've seen that one twice.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's because I've added the Tomahawk in it. It's the parent set.
See them all.
Split fin.
Now, go back to the Kujakus.
Yeah, there's some more coming.
Oh, they're in there mixed up.
Yeah, I've got to do it on this one.
Mate, that's the one for me.
That's fucking insanely good, isn't it? Yeah, them ones. They're the ones I got for the grow out. I think there's 4 and 6 or 5 and 5. That'd be quite interesting to see how that goes as well. And that one's
they're nice, mate. That's nice, but that other one at the other end, wherever it is, going the wrong way. I don't know where you're going.
I don't know where I am now. Let me have a look on here.
Keep going. Keep going.
That can't be. Well, let's start again. There.
Keep going. It's mixed in with the Sanke somewhere, isn't it?
There it is.
That one. If you're picking one with the traits of the parent, man, that just fucking that's just.
You know, one thing that was picked out is how good the fin shape is as well. Oh, bollocks. The fin shape on the fish, like, just absolute banging.
That's nice. But,
yeah, definitely, mate. I think Kujaku, that stands out quite well. But that's easily the standout piece in the Kujaku, easily. you know, but that's available on the website still. But I think it's 1,200 quid.
Yeah, but when you another funny when you look at that, and then you look at the parent, and you look at the fact that it's being grown.
Oh yeah, that's it. That includes everything, including shipping as well. You know.
You look at that. You look at that fish there, and you look at that offspring. Mate, you're fucking almost looking at fucking. It's just like, all right. It's like a mini me, isn't it? That's fucking just.
That was his number one Kujaku as well, out of the pond that I dipped. So, you know, he ain't put any slouches in. That's a sure fact. You know, for me, I'm surprised that hasn't sold. It's the same as
mega. When you look at the parent, you look at that, you think that's being grown by him for a summer.
I'm missing a Sanke. There's another Sanke that looks absolutely insane.
See, I like that Sanke as well, mate.
Yeah, I like that Sanke as well. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Again, with size, that's going to look fucking really good. And then when you look at what the parent does, if this sashi line does really tighten up, and that sumi actually starts to join them two plates together, I think that fucking yeah, beautiful. But
nice fish, mate.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what they come out like. You know, bearing in mind you know what we pay Azakari, Rick. You know, and the fish prices that we paid at Yoshino. You know, it's not cheap, is it, to Azakari a fish? And I think that 1,200 quid for something coming from parent sets like that, which he is allowing into one of his 4 mud ponds, and he's no slouch in there. In the competition world, Yamaguchi, more Asia, he has huge success in Asia. A lot of his custom comes from Asia. So, you know,
I think they're probably trying to sell them little, isn't it? When you went in October, November, when that's a 50 centimeter fish,
I mean,
cheap, isn't it?
He don't even like. This is how finicky he is in a positive sense. He doesn't like offering Azakari because he's under so much pressure.
Don't blame him. Oh, we tried it once. It's like fucking hell. It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
I'm not giving them fish back. I'm keeping them.
There's that element, but there's also the element that if it doesn't come out the pond, he's then got to cover it again. And because he's only a small dealer, you've got to give some of the same sort of quality and value back, which means that dents him on his new stock coming in. And he calls down. He's literally got 3 ponds in his main fish house, and he's got like his Tatashita that he selects but doesn't keep and puts out for sale. But his like top end fish, he's literally got 3 ponds, probably no more than 250 fish in. Right, and he's selecting out of them to go back into mud ponds because people are under this illusion that the mud ponds get absolutely rammed full, and it's not the case. They don't, you know. And last year he had a lot of problems with cormorant getting through his defences and fucking smashing his fishing, so he lost quite a lot of money. So him agreeing to do it this year, you know, I thought it was quite a good thing. I thought people would be interested. But I'm not bothered if I don't sell, if I'm perfectly honest, because I'll have 11 banging fish coming back to me at the end of the year.
But that's the thing, is they deal right. They're worth more money. The thing of Azakari is you're paying less money than they're worth
as an Issai. Yeah, totally right. And if they come out like I did this year, mate. So Ryan bought a Sanke in February last year when I was out there, and I kid you not, mate, it was the best tozai I'd ever seen. Just me personally, when you get a connection with a fish and you're like, I want that fucking fish, and just couldn't stop going back to look at it. He sold it to Ryan, and Ryan sold it on. It come out the mud pond. I think it was only 22 centimeters when it was in the pond when we picked it out, and then over this year it went up to 52, I think he said. So it done 30 centimeters in a growing season, and that. But it's not just that way. It's fucking mass is unbelievable. It's staying out there again for another year, so it's going to go to Sanzai. But it was a very expensive fish. You're looking like 4-figure times a couple of quid, like high thousands.
Yeah, but that's his probably number one fish he don't want to sell.
He didn't want to sell it.
No, and he's asking the price because he's like, this is my best fish. I don't want to sell it.
I'll give you a demonstration of what he does. Right, so you'll get a bowl of fish. Right, he'll take a picture from top down, and then he does this. Right, I thought it was mint. He literally does that. and he writes the price next to the fish in comparison to the picture that he's taken. And the 5 or 6 fish that was in the bowl, they was like 800,000 yen, 600,000 yen. It's only an example. It's not exact. Right. And then that fish was like 10 million yen. It's like, what? It wasn't really 10 million. I'm just exaggerating. But the price difference was so vast. It's like, okay, we'll have it. It's like, I don't want to sell it. It's like, give us a price. He had to take it because it was worth so much. He wouldn't have been able to get that sort of money again. So he had to take it. He put a price on it and sold it.
But that's the whole point, man. It comes down to those top end bits are like art, aren't they? So most koi, you can quality, this, but you get to that point where this is 1 in a billion. This is 1 in absolute. If you want it, £1 million.
Well, for Yamaguchi to do what he's done, I mean, he worked with Narita down at number 1 koi, so he still works with him now. It shows when he's doing all of his sort of stuff that he does down there. But he does this on the side. He's actually a truffle farmer. He does this on the side, and just being able to, when I was there, you can see it on the YouTube video, but when I'm there selecting, he's literally sat over the top of the bowls, how they do, sitting on the back of their eels with his fucking fag on. Like the whole time, then looking at what you're looking at, and then looking what's back in the bowl, right? And you just see how much it means to him. He's as passionate as what we are about the fish, and having that connection is fucking,
They're his babies. He's watched them fish from the parents to the first cull, second cull, third cull. He's always started picking them out. On the third cull, he'd probably start going, these are the better ones. These are the better ones.
Yeah.
And then some dickhead foreigner comes along and starts making them out.
I'll give you this much if you let me fucking swim around in your water. But what his mental is, right, from the fish that he's got in those ponds for you to choose, he has got every single fish documented from fry all the way through. And you can see the progression picture by picture as it goes. It's just fucking insane what he does. Insane.
But you can only do that with a small breeder, really, can't you? That's the thing.
Absolutely, yeah. But that's the difference, isn't it? Let me have a look what you've just sent me, Matt.
See if you can pick out Rich's as a carry.
Oh, I thought you were picking up my knickers.
It's just loading in. Did you send it high quality?
Yeah, well, how did you say to do that?
Well, see, he didn't then, did he? He can't
No,
fucking remember.
Right, when you select the video, top right corner, there's a little button HD.
No, so I haven't. I've got.
Go in. Oh, I don't fucking. I'll have a look afterwards. I'll show you afterwards. But
It's a
let me
Nokia
show you.
310, isn't it?
Fuck off, Rich.
So have you got one of these fish, Rick or Matt? Or...
I have no idea what. How do I know?
He has to carry
Yeah, but I don't know what you're sending him, do I?
the bowl of Azakari.
Well, let's stop that a minute.
Well, I think it is anyway. there's certainly one fish in there I recognise.
Oh, could be anything, mate.
There we go.
Make sure you turn it down.
Well, that three steps a fucking banger on its own, isn't it?
I couldn't afford that.
That was his expensive one, was it?
Yeah, that literally came out, and the customer with us went, "That's mine." I went, "Hang on a moment, you don't even know how much it is. Don't matter, I'm having it."
It don't matter. It does fucking matter when it's fucking £20,000, doesn't it?
No, it's only 17.
17 quid.
Did you take that Kujaku then, Rick?
I did, yeah.
This one.
Mate, the skin quality on it was absolutely insane. No one liked it because Kujaku, mate. But
So what are the two on the left and the right then, Mitch?
well, the left's a Sanke and the
Who's
right's a shower.
Did you get the shower
I
as
can
well?
see
Did
that.
you get the other two as well, Rick?
No,
No.
I didn't.
His shower are fucking awesome as well.
No,
Like
that Kujaku's mint now. I prefer, to be fair, right? I would have still picked the Kujaku one over the free step.
But it's got a better size head and mouth, mate, for a start. And knowing Yoshino, his fish will body hugely. Right, when you look at that one looks a lot more stockier than this one. But looking back at what I seen last year that went into Azakari as Tozai through to Nisai, some of those more skinny ones, they come out looking absolutely insanely fucking better than some of the ones that were stocked up as young. So
Yeah, no, that Kujaku had the best skin of any fish he bowled up. That was just, you can't see it. It's one of those things you can't see it there, really.
I can on this monitor. That's why I'm looking at that one. It looks better than that one. But yeah, pattern wise, that three steps like everyone's ticking the box, isn't it? There you go. That's a good pattern. That's a good place. That Sanke's good too. Didn't you take that?
No, different one.
Filth.
Different
I ain't gonna
one.
ask you what you paid for it. I've got a good idea, to be fair, but
No, yeah, it's not been shipped back, is it?
not yet. But
No.
you know, when it comes back though, mate, it'll be a different gravy. Did you see his ones that he obviously in that? Did you go over to the fish house where he's got all of the last year's Azakari ready to go? Like
Yeah, on the left hand side in the wooden shack.
No,
there was another fish house.
Yeah, we went to the one where he had all the fish ready for shipping and looking at. Yeah. And then we went to another one that was like shitstorm of just like being back at work.
Yeah.
Absolute shitstorm. That was, yeah, the fish you netted up in there were amazing. But yeah, you couldn't see, it was just netting up in green soup, and
yeah,
he was getting a show out for Rani. Weren't allowed a video in there, which is fair enough because there was a lot of customers fishing.
I've got a video from there. He's asked me not to put it on any social media, so he allowed me to film, but he just said no social media.
Yeah, well, who knows? We weren't doing that. It was fucking take your life in your hands getting in there. Yeah, now again.
Yeah, the water was like.
Yeah, that's amazing. That Kujaku, I think, be good. Matt's got some there as well.
Well, I'm trying to find a picture of him. I'm still waiting for a picture to come.
I've got 3 there actually. Yeah, 3 Asakari there as well.
Oh, we get them all shipped back together. You can pay delivery then.
Oh, that's really kind of you. Thanks, mate.
That's right, mate. You can keep it yours. You quarantine and feed them, and I'll come back.
Yeah, and then you'll come and get them next year. Yeah, fair enough.
Why were you laughing when you said I got 2 there, Rich? It's not funny.
Right,
Champagne lifestyle.
Just switched on there.
Lemonade money.
Cool. Right. Anyway, I think we're done. We are right, guys. Like I said, I just filled in for Gaz tonight to give you fuckers something to look at. Also, let me play with videos and whatnot ready for when the Koi Show thing goes live. Koi Show Live goes live. That sounds fucked up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd give it a while though. But you don't want to be doing it too soon after tonight's performance.
Oh, cheers for your confidence, Matt. Really appreciate that.
You did well.
Anyway, yeah, look out for it. There'll be some more little teasers flying through as and when things start to get sort of stitched together a little bit more as well for videos and stuff. I will be inviting the likes of you on Rick and you on Matt as well.
Cheers.
Yeah. I'm just saying, the invites will be there. It's not just a fucking crafty Koi show. It's for everyone, but it'll be segmented differently to what we normally do. So it won't be like a 3 or 4 hour sort of stint, you know.
Short, sweet, and professional.
No, just not professional, just short and sweet. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, until next time, guys, be lucky and don't forget
the 27th.
27th of the month is today.
No, for your growing show.
Yeah, we'll do all that later on.
I'm not going to be here till then.
They all like unfinished category. Yes.
I'm not here till the 20th. I'm away.
Oh, yeah.
Just goodbye until then.
Were you away for all that time?
Pretty much.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
Prison.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Enjoy your stay. But anyway, guys, you've all been a bunch of cricket butts. Auction next Tuesday, Crafty Koi's channel. Make sure
I won't be there to provide the bargains.
So anyway, be safe, everyone. I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
No.
Oh, I need to. Oh, this.
You can't shut it down, can you? It's the red cross at the bottom, apparently.
Look, okay, if I go like that and then like this,